LPL teams are pretty constantly fighting. So even as they're figuring out the patch, and they've made a lot of mistakes, I think one of the reasons why Gore Drinker has been so successful is because, hey, if you're Zoom, for example, on JDD, you can just frontline and your team will eventually end up killing everyone, even if you've made several mistakes in the early to mid game that you need to make up for. Now, moving on, there's been a lot of Gnar discourse in the timeline lately because Gnar has been very successful in the LPL and not nearly as successful in the LCK. I think there are a few reasons for this. A lot of it initially just has to do with the way the LPL players approach the game just generally. They play lane a lot more aggressively, and that's why you see a lot of highly questionable plays, but it's also why you see a lot of people just going for straight up lane dominance. I think there are ways to punish Gnar. You can obviously just camp top lane, and I think he ends up having a hard time. But generally, the 11.1 buffs to Gnar do make him competitively viable for LPL. Well, that's it from me and from the LPL's first few weeks, as well as Demacia Cup. As for how LCS teams will handle this, I'll hand it back to you, analysts, to see what you guys think.
Thank you so much, Emily, for that quick look of what's going on around the world. But returning here to North America when it comes to the meta, I'm curious what your guys' takeaways are from what we saw in the LCS just yesterday. Starting with you, Primal.
Yeah, so first of all, there's a lack of grievous wounds in the LCS, and it's a really, really big problem. Like, we saw Impact get super fed, run Blade of the Ruin King and Gore Drinker, and all we saw to answer that was a Thornmail, which is not particularly good versus Renekton because the grievous wounds on Thornmail only activates when someone auto-attacks the unit. So I really want to see more Executioner's callings. I know Oblivion Orb isn't great because it builds into items that a lot of mid laners don't like, but look, it's not sexy to build these items, but sexy doesn't win games all the time.
All right, so looking...
Yeah, and I think it's worth...
Oh, sorry, Mark. My bad.
No problems, James. I forgive you, but you're on a short leash now. I gotta say, like, it's not just champion kits anymore. That is how you used to look at healing. Like, oh, there's a Soraka in the game. But like nowadays, with the amount of items that grant healing, the amount of runes and masteries that grant healing, like it's just so much in the game that you Drake's Soul and all these different things that are gonna increase the healing. That you can't just look at that. Moonstone Renewer is another option. Like Ravenous Hunter, all these things amp that healing up. So I totally agree with Primal that we need to see more Grievous Wounds items.
All right, how am I doing now, Mark? Do I get a bit of leash to go?
You are permitted to speak.
Thank you so much.
Go.
Appreciate that. So looking for some intelligent responses to some of the new items and the healing that could come into the game as a result. But on that topic of new items, I think Gale Force is one that has to be talked about as its prevalence is through the roof. Did we lose High? High, can you hear me?
So I'm super happy that there's a bunch of items in the league that... Hello? Oh, no.
We got you. I think you just might be on a small delay. What's going on there?
No, I
tell you what.
I'm having some technical difficulties. It might be good now, but all right, let me try.
We got you.
Okay,
Go for it.
I'm pretty happy that there are a bunch of new items that allow you to do different things. Prime example is Gale Force. It gives champions that don't have a dash, and champions that have one, a second dash. So it's very hard to counterplay that for a lot of champions and people that don't have this mobility anymore. A really strong example of that is Yone. He already has a lot of movement, but when you give him another dash that adds damage on top of it, it makes it really disgusting for champions to play against because how do you get away from someone that has 7 dashes that is only supposed to have 6, right? Like, yeah, you have 6 problems. Now you have 7. It makes it really difficult for people to play.
All right, you're always prepared for number 6, but that 7th one will get you. It'll catch you off guard. No, it's an interesting conversation, the way that you have to, track opponent builds to understand how the mechanics of the game are going to change as time ticks along. Until that Gale Force is completed, don't have to worry about dash number 7. But then as soon as it is, you have to completely warp the way you play around it in its entirety. That's a lot about item meta, but Primal, let's talk about champions as well. Who are you looking at?
I'm looking at Graves, man. I think this champion is getting massively over-prioritized. I mean, even if we just look at win rate globally, he's 11-21, which is not good. And look, we know he's good in solo queue, but in pro play, he is situational. You cannot pick Graves when you don't have lane priority, right? Because Graves is all about counter ganking, farming, and scaling. But in games where you don't have that lane priority and you don't have that lane pressure, your lanes are just getting bodied and you're trying to farm and your whole team gets blasted. So I think Graves needs to go down in priority, or if you're going to pick him, make sure you're picking lanes that complement him.
For me, I'm looking at the support pool. I mean, like Emily was saying about what the meta is around the world, we're seeing a lot of tanky engage champions, and I am particularly happy to see Maokai getting some play. He's terrorizing solo queue, but it's starting to see some pro play. I hope NA picks it up. It rushes Imperial Mandate. There's no tank stats there, so you have to be careful because you can get blown up. You have to rely on Aftershock procs and W usage to avoid damage. But assuming that you can actually play it well, every ability can proc Imperial Mandate. So you do a great job of setting this up and getting a lot of usage out of it. And so I hope people start using it more and more. There is some Enchanter support. We've seen some Lulus. We've seen some Seraphines in the LCK. I hope we don't see them. I just don't find them as fun to watch as all the tanky initiators and the playmaking tools that they have.
Fair enough. 5 games to go today. 5 opportunities to see some of these things we're talking about out on the Rift. Game 1, though, has Immortals premiering against Evil Geniuses. With our first look at them and lots of questions surrounding their offseason, Immortals chose to reintroduce themselves to fans with this video.
The Rift. I have so many wonderful experiences here, killing minions and getting ganked top and getting counter jungled. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about Immortals League of Legends. My name is Mike Schwartz. I'm the Director of Competitive Esports at Immortals. Here at Immortals, we've been thinking a lot about last year in particular, and how was our first year back? We had to live up to the legacy of the brand, and quite frankly, everything we did became kind of a meme. And we know, we get it. We understand that we didn't live up to that legacy, and we're here to tell you that that's all going to change. I'll be honest, our roster's built a little bit differently this year. We wanted to create something that grows, and we felt like these were the players that had the potential to develop with us. Building your team is a lot like leveling up your champion. We've implemented a track for our players to succeed, not just for this season, but for the future as well. Honestly, I'm so excited to show you guys what we have in store, but first, I need to go finish this game. I'm here to tell you that Immortals is here to level up. We're going to take some hits, and we're going to keep on going. Our coaching staff is here to make sure that our players can develop into the best ones they can be. Day by day, we're going to be improving because ultimately, we are Immortals.
I cannot believe that video was approved and actually made. It feels like one of those things that like went full circle. It's so bad that it's good. I don't know if I'm the only one that feels that way, but it hasn't gone full circle for me yet.
Prime.
I actually want an Immortals jersey now, and I want them to make the world's music video, the same team, because it was that good to me.
There it is. There it is. I appreciate the transparency that a number of our orgs have come to the table with this year when it comes to rosters. We did call out Golden Guardians yesterday. I think the same should be said for Immortals here. We do know that they're working through a number of issues, and so when it comes to their lineup that they'll be fielding today, you will see the likes of Revenge, Potluck, Insanity, Keith, and Joey. And Mark, I think that's where the conversation has to start, that this is not the intended starting lineup for the season.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely one of the teams that we would classify as some of the more developmental pros rosters. Xerxes would be the jungler who would be the kind of stabilizing force. Unfortunately, not here yet, but a lot of these are pretty familiar faces. Potluck, Keith, and Joey have all had opportunities in the LCS before, so I'm excited to see them get some more playing time under their belt here in the lock-in tournament.
I think with that, there's a lot of hype high specifically for a player like Revenge. This is a guy who, over the years, has always been in the conversation when it comes to solo queue and his performance and his ability to climb the ranked ladder there. But we know that it's a totally different game when you step on to the professional stage.
Right. He's consistently top 10 in solo queue, but unfortunately for him, LCS is a bit different than solo queue, or at least I'd hope to think. Some might argue it's the same thing, but, you know, maybe he's able to transition LCS games into solo queue games, kind of make them like a fiesta, you know, and then he can pop off. But I'm hopeful that he has learned a lot in his time practicing in scrims to be able to convert his mechanics into team play.
Well, his debut today is up against Evil Geniuses, who impressed us yesterday in their first game by taking down the likes of Cloud9 Primal.
Yeah, I thought this team actually defied my expectations, and I particularly was impressed with Jizuke. This is a player who was sort of 1v9 when he was really good, and it was a 4v5 when he was really bad. So this time around, we saw him exert a lot of control, really smart positioning, especially when he didn't have flash, and allow the game to go in his favor by not allowing Perks to get out of control. So really impressed with Jizuke, and looking forward to seeing more from him.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Pi.
I think there's like a really weird criticism of Jizuke. People saying that sometimes he's like throwing because he pushes too far, but like I feel like that's a good criticism for them because of the fact that if your mid laner is doing so well, he's like on the inhibitor turret, but he sometimes dies for it. It's pretty easy to teach him not to die there, right? But he has to be good enough to get there in the first place, if that makes sense. You know, like it's easier to teach someone not to throw than it is to teach someone how to carry, in my opinion.
Definitely the case, and I mean, on the complete opposite end of that spectrum is Impact, who is such a rock in the top lane. He had a great debut showing, and I think this is a totally overlooked portion of their offseason because everyone talked about Alfari coming. No one really talked about where Impact went. This was one of the best top laners in North America, and you got to see him show that again yesterday, and he did it in a little bit different style. We've seen him play Renekton before, but he went Blade of the Rune King second to go double DPS items to handle Yone in the side lane, so that was really cool to see, and we get to see hopefully more of that in the future with him kind of unlocked from TL's playstyle out of Impact.
A very exciting roster. That's game one of the day. We'll see if EG can stay hot or if Immortals can take them down a notch as we get day two rather underway. Let's hand it over to the Doug duo, Freak and Azael, for game one.
Hello and welcome to the cast here for the second day of games here for LCS. Lock-in, a very fun sort of pre-season tournament. It does not affect if you go to Worlds or anything, but it does let the teams play out their rosters and figure things out and get ready to go. It's a lot of fun. We're going to be here for some more games. I am Freak. Azael is here casting with me. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, yeah. So, I mean, it's not going to affect the world qualifications, but there's some cash on the line. There's charity money on the line. And most importantly, this tournament will be dictating if Freak is going to flame you or not over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm going to hold off on Flame now because it is the very beginning. Like, I don't think it's fair to flame like teams like CLG who are missing 40% of their roster. It's like
true.
This is not fair to criticize when, you know, you're only playing 2/3 of an LCS team at that point.
When has
like, I'll hold off
fair
on that
with
one.
Flame ever mattered?
Huh?
When is being fair with Flame ever mattered?
Listen, okay? I would like to consider it as enlightened criticism, where theoretically I'm helping you get better. For example, you know, Dignitas have gotten rid of a lot of the players that were making them lose games, and now they're winning games. Like, you know, the criticism from last year helped them get better. CLG, I think, got rid of players that helped them lose games, and unfortunately can't get some of the replacements in time because of visa issues coming in from Europe. So, you know, when it all gets there, it's going to be fine. It's going to be exciting regardless. I think we're going to have a lot of good games. Evil Geniuses, you know, to go back to the point of praise, because I think praise is what's actually due here. EG looked outstanding yesterday, and I got to give a lot of praise to Impact, who of all players in the LCS is tied with Perks for the most trophies. Counting, you know, all the various leagues, not just LCS trophies, of course.
Yeah, I mean, Impact, I do think, you know, he's less hyped than some other players, and he can go ahead and go under the radar a little bit because he is known more for his tank play, more for his kind of bruiser play than like pure carries and playing around that. But yesterday, he reminded us that he can play that carry style too, that he can build offensively. He dominated the game on Renekton. They're grabbing him that for the first pick here again. It sets up well for a lot of junglers in the meta right now, such strong gank assistance. You know, even in some of the bad matchups, there is always the opportunity to flash W, stun them, set up for for your jungler and turn around one of those bad matchups. But Taliyah already taken off the board. We saw a lot of Taliyah Renekton yesterday. I'm going to be interested to see if Nidalee Renekton is going to be in the meta whatsoever this year, because we did see a lot of that at the end of last year. But I haven't been seeing as much Nidalee, it seems like, in solo queue these days. So we'll be curious to see if that pops up.
The Lily was going to be, I think, second choice if it was, like, Taliyah, I think, is the best AP jungler in League of Legends right now. I think that's the one you go for, and it's the one, in fact, that Immortals banned. I think they sort of expected the Renekton first pick, try to get rid of the best synergy possible. Elise is solid. Lilia is very good. Yeah, Nidalee, I think, is a tier below at that point. And with the Lilia steal, it's like, does Svenskeren play Elise? Maybe not. Hecarim is more diving, which is solid. EG did lack engage, I would say, in the previous one they played. It says, actually, no, we are going for the AP jungler. We are indeed trying to mix damage types here, so Nidalee jungle comes through, but it means that, again, Impact is on flank duty unless Ignar can start the show.
Yeah, and there are a lot of engaged supports in the meta right now, right? And none of them have actually been banned out, unless you want to say Pantheon could be, put in the support role. So, you have your Alistars, you have your Leonas, you have even Set and some of these other supports that can be pretty strong at engaging, so it's not going to be a huge concern for them just yet. Nidalee has been fairly popular in some of the other regions, so I'm glad to see it popping up here. It already has 20+ picks in pro play. So Svenskeren going to be teaming up with Impact here, and this is already something where Revenge is going to have to be pretty careful about what he is playing. A lot of players in this position will just go to an Ornn and just try to accept the beating and hope that they don't get too far behind. I'm going to be interested to see if he wants to go for something a little bit more aggressive, because there are always the options that are considered more the traditional lane counters to Renekton. Of course, you still have to be worried about jungle pressure, but you can go towards something like a Quinn even, if you are willing to play it and your team is willing to play around it. But with Lucian coming through, I'm expecting that to be Lucian mid, which generally does draw a lot of attention from the junglers. So I'm already kind of not really thinking that we're going to have a carry mid, a carry top, carry the jungle. Immortals likely are going to have Revenge on tank duty, I would assume.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good choice here, so I'm curious if there's going to be a lot of tank bans coming through from the EG side. Obviously, we saw Impact do swimmingly when he, just kind of clapped the Ornn and fudged to play, behind his tier 2 turret for half the game, and that worked really nicely. So, maybe he's just willing to take those matchups. I don't know if something like Malphite holds on better, not much of an expert there myself, but there's Leona getting banned away. It's more engaged going off the bat. Syndra getting dropped on the table as well. My understanding is Lucian is actually fairly comfortable into Syndra, just because you can itemize Hex Drinker so easily that you're kind of okay playing the matchup out, but I'm not an expert there either.
Yeah, it is interesting because when there's an AP jungler as well, having that AP option come through in mid lane, then you were really happy generally about going towards a Hex Drinker and those types of plays. But this just may be more of an attack onto Jizuke. He played this Syndra yesterday. He did look very good on it. So you maybe are just trying to take comfort away from him, push him towards something that Insanity feels is going to be an even better matchup for himself. We can see double mage bans there, from Immortals. One top lane ban taking away the Gnar, which is considered to be a pretty good matchup into that Renekton in the 1v1. Of course, Gnar does have to be careful about the jungle assistance, but I am expecting at this point for it to probably just be an Ornn. And as to your question about, Ornn versus Malphite, I think both can be fine. And this is actually probably going to be a Gragas top. Probably going up towards Revenge, which we have been seeing quite a bit, in LPL, LCK. I think it's a pretty strong pick. And does have fairly good wave clear, because one of the problems that we can see happen to both of the tanks that I mentioned, and this is actually what happened to Fudge yesterday, is that Renekton will stack the early waves, and if the jungler comes up, you get zoned off the tower, right? And that is what happened to Fudge and put him so far behind, in the early stages of yesterday's game. With Revenge on Gragas, perhaps he can just use those barrels early on to thin out the wave enough that he can try to combat that push a little bit more than those tanks may be able to.
Yeah, Gragas definitely, you can trigger Aftershock on purpose, of course, and like, I'm getting Dove, okay, bam, here's 80 armor MR, you've got pretty good CC chaining as well. Yeah, it's gonna happen pre-6, but with Body Slam and the W damage reduction, Gragas can maybe survive a dive, so I'm curious if he can just kind of hold on to that one. Happy to see Ignar hovering the Thresh right here. I think it's one of his very, very best champions, like that and Rakan. I think he's stellar at both, and it's a lot of champions that these players are known for, which is pretty exciting. Gonna see, Jizuki running around on the Zoe. That should be pretty solid as well. A lot of poke if needed with the Nidalee, Jhin, and Zoe together. Team fight, like raw DPS, is gonna be maybe a little bit suspect. That's the one downside here in the EG squad, but if Impact plays as well he does yesterday, as he did yesterday, then they're not wanting for damage in any way, and this could look really, really good. On the Immortal side, of course, tough situation. They've had to currently replace 3/5 of the roster. Only Revenge and Insanity are intended starters. Everyone else is stuck, not able to get into the country and play just yet. So it's a tough look, but they brought in a bunch of the Academy squad. They said they've been working well together, and we're going to hope they can kind of step up against a team that is already playing, I would say, better than expectations and was already a pretty good one.
Yeah, EG looked really, really good yesterday, and I do think that they have the potential to be much better than the preseason expectations were, if Definitely can step up, because most people are looking at Ignar as an upgrade and someone whose playstyle fits better with Jizuke, who wants to be aggressive. Ignar's known for his roams, known for his aggressive plays. You look up to the top lane, Kumo versus Impact, that seems like a clear upgrade as well, but the main question people had was, how is Def going to stack up to what Bang was for EG? Because Bang was huge in so many of the wins for EG, and if Def can definitely, excuse me, not Def.
Yeah, sure.
can be playing, at a very high level, as good as Bang even, then the sky's the limit for this team. They really could go pretty damn far.
Yeah, I mean, this is the team that was honestly a pretty solid threat throughout most of the last year. They came fairly close to going to Worlds. They had some pretty good playoff runs overall. And then, yeah, they grabbed some really strict upgrades. I mean, Impact is leagues better than Kumo, and I think Ignar is one of the maybe 2 or 3 best supports in the league, and I mean, I think he's a big upgrade over Zazel there as well. And as you're mentioning, yes, then there's the shoes that need to be filled that belong to Bang, but the other 2 lanes are such big upgrades that, I mean, EG are legitimately a team that can challenge for the throne, to challenge for a trophy, and these are the 5 players that can absolutely do it. I'm excited to watch them play out here. On the Immortals side, the player I am the biggest fan of is Insanity. I really liked what I saw of him last year, getting thrown in and stepping as best he could. I think he's a very, very good player. He is in the Lucian mid, as was identified. And yeah, I think if he can keep doing well, I think it's a career that we'll keep watching with a lot of sort of excitement, because I think he can keep getting better, and he could be a star in a year or so.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, there were so many games in Summer Split where Insanity was almost the hero, It was like one play away from being this outstanding, memorable game where there was a small misexecution on a Shockwave or the overpush on the Azir attempt to try to just knock down the base. These small little moments, but I like that he didn't lose his kind of killer edge, right? Because I do think that was something that made him stand out, is how aggressively he played to really get damage out in the team fights. He played a lot of really high DPS champions, the Karthus, the Orianna, the Azir, and he's not afraid to actually throw himself into the fights to just maximize his damage output. Even if that means he's going to go down, that can be worth it if you can get a tremendous amount of damage out. So seeing the development of Insanity, going to be a lot of fun, I think. And already proccing PTA twice early on in this lane against Jizuke, and Jizuke is getting pretty darn low. He does have biscuits, so we'll be able to start chugging those potions, but these trades are going very, very bad for EG's mid laner.
Yep, so far so good. Insanity going to feel comfortable with this one. Jizuke just chugging through the 2 regular potions. The first biscuit comes in as well, but that, of course, only does so much. So looking like it is for now, though. A possible farm lead for Jizuke as the push comes in. Bit of a trade down there. Nice sidestep for Keith. Ignar walks up, throws the hook, but they're just out of range. No pickup there. Perfect CS for Deftly. Always good to see as the first 2 waves come in. And they shove on down into this turret there as well, as Joey and Keith stepping in from the Academy roster. Players we have seen play in the LCS before, but again, we are seeing the Australian duos, the normal starters here for Immortals, and eventually we will have them, but going to hold on as best they can. Kai'Sa certainly can be quite good, and this is a game where I probably would expect to see Gale Force. I think their Kraken Slayer is a choice when there's a lot more tanks, but you kind of want to get away from Renekton in this game.
Yeah, and the ability to dodge some of these key engage tools, like dodge out a hook, potentially dodge out a spear or a sleeve coming through, that can be really, really big. There is quite a bit of poke over on EG, but it's pretty dangerous poke. I mean, sometimes that sleep can just mean a kill. And so when you have these style of compositions that want to try to poke you down and then use the Jhin ult for the engage, there is some pressure put over onto the engage tools that Immortals does have. And I think the primary engage there is going to be Revenge. We know how good Gragas could be, as an engager coming out of the jungle. Same thing can be here for the top lane. you can get even a lot more tanky. We have been seeing just traditionally, full tank builds for the Gragas top, and we'll see if that's going to be what he goes for. Svenskeren.
You flash trade, but now this is danger on Insanity. Gets the cleanse out, he's trying to run away, but it's got to be enough for Jizuke. Thanks for the gank. Potluck can't find it as Svenskeren dives backwards. Jizuke's back in as well. Flashes in, gets it all. A double kill for the Italian Stallion. You happy to have him on the roster again. Beautiful play on the Zoe.
Oh, disaster for Immortals, though. Jizuke punishing those mistakes. Insanity flashing forward was just barely out of auto-attack range. He had the double tap up, so it would have been that first blood over onto Svenskeren, but he misjudged the range, and Jizuke makes him pay. And he is going to be so far ahead off of that. Going for the early Seekers here to just have that mitigation for the laning phase, and he is going to be really, really dangerous if he gets ahead. We saw him in spring in particular really take over some games, including some on the Zoe, where he was just landing sleep after sleep, poke after poke, and making it an absolute nightmare for his opponents.
700 gold is going to feel real good for winning a lane matchup. Hex Flash comes across, sidesteps away from the Flay. They got a lot of damage onto Ignar. One more hit would have triggered Plasma and done about 130 damage overall. Keith, though, is going to be stuck in, taking 300 damage himself. Nicely done by Deftly to land the root with the trap already down there. A nice trade, all things considered, but now Ignar has to sit there and regen, and he is basically out of potions, so that's going to be tough.
And EG is down 3 summoners there. Both summoners off of Ignar. We can see this performance play here. Back towards the mid lane. Insanity spotting Svenskeren on that ward, going over the wall and looking for the kill here. Just barely out of range, not able to connect, and then he's just a bit too far forward, and Jizuke sees the angle to make him pay. Picking up those summoners, the first flash allowing him to get the kill, and then he picked up a second flash to get that second kill. Joey looking for the engage here as Potluck knows definitely has no flash. There's no getting out of this.
It looks like they knew Lantern. Okay, finally comes back up, pulls him away, and now you've got Svenskeren coming around as well. Joey pulled in. Impact is down there, going to be joined by Revenge, but he's got no mana, and Keith is going to be attacked. He's going to go down, and Joey's going to follow. 4 kills to nothing, and a flash forced away to run away from the counter gang. Evil geniuses can do no wrong this game.
Nicely done answering that, as the TP from Impact was so effective. Revenge also TP'd in, but he didn't really have any mana. He wasn't able to get his ultimate out or anything like that. So EG end up coming out on top big time in that bot lane play. Definitely picking up a kill. Impact grabbing a kill for himself, and the rich get richer.
Yeah, this is a pretty substantial lead right now. 1,500 already. It's going to feel a bit doomed. Every single lane is winning. Yeah, so the Lantern was burned early, which said, okay, hey, Lantern's down for 20 seconds, make the play. It's a good call, but it's not enough.
Yeah, they go in for the Hex Flash. They look towards Deftly, knowing he has no flash available, but they're able to kite out and dodge a lot of the initial engage. Deftly's not really taking damage until just now. The Lantern has come back up. Ignar is able to get him out of there, and then Svenskeren has arrived. Impact has arrived. Impact getting back into that back line, sustaining up enough with that Q on 3 members of Immortals to then be able to flash out and survive. And Revenge just not as effective in that teleport play. I didn't get to see exactly how the wave was shaking out up on the top side, but when you both commit that TP, your opponent gets the kill. It's not going to be feeling too good.
No, it's not. So 12 CS lead. Svenskeren does the nice walk away, lets the burn kill it off. Impact going to take the trade. That's going to feel pretty comfortable, but this is the benefit of grasping a Bramble Vest on Gragas is, he doesn't heal off you very heavily, and you hit him right back, and it's going to feel okay. So the trades are fine, but obviously you can see the gold right here. Jizuke definitely an Impact, all top the charts. And yeah, it's rough stuff down here. I mean, every single member has more gold than their lane opponent, and poor Keith is down in the bottom 4.
Yeah, he's going to be put pretty far back. Impact, though, getting ganked.
Red buff, sleep, certainly doable. Can you set up the CC combo? Revenge going to pop the ult to go backwards. Now Impact's going to take the fight as best he can. Waiting for cooldowns. Almost gets them! Potluck just barely survives, but he's got to be careful under his turret because Svenskeren's on the way as well. Trap to look for vision. Okay, I don't see you under the turret. I guess I'm not going to find it, but nice attempt. Good kill and something on the board for Immortals. Good job there. Potluck stepping in from Academy. Revenge, his first LCS game of his career here on Immortals squad, formerly of FlyQuest Academy. Had never finished above 8th place in that career. It was unfortunately kind of lackluster in the lower leagues, but managed to get a kill on the board in his first game. Not bad.
Yeah, looking really good. It was a good combo there with Potluck, allowing the sleep to sit, then setting up for the easy Gragas ultimate after Impact had already used the Slice and Dice. Was really doing as best as he could to try to get away there, and just barely Potluck did survive. If Impact got a kill there, it would have been pretty devastating, but they do even it out, and they are able to push in the wave, so that's pretty nice for them. And we can see that Revenge is going to be heading back up to topside as Jizuke was resetting the wave top. We saw Impact just head straight out to mid lane to push in that wave for him, and then they will just rotate back around, and we'll see Impact heading right back towards that top lane.
Alrighty, so Scar's Bloom pop. Jizuke gets a nice blue buff. Both mid laners, of course, got that, as we saw Insanity's version not too long ago. Bot lane, turret's already lost one wave. Definitely's like, yeah, I can't really stay long enough for a plate. Let's just take the defensive option. Always a fan of supports who recognize, yeah, I'm not going to auto the turret. We're just going to put a lantern down and let you get the damage, make sure there's no gank play. Keith has to guess which brush might they be recalling in. Are they recalling? Are they sitting in mid brush? We don't know for sure. That's hookable. Yep. He checked the wrong brush, has to lose cleanse. Flay comes back in. They're going for the box as well. Keith's at half HP, and now they can chase forward into even more this one. Fourth shot comes out. Ult as well. Joey can only take a couple of shots. He'll die to the third. Keith walks in. Wow, I am shocked that didn't land. Jizuke's coming, though. Here comes Zoe. Jumping in. Nice play. The minions couldn't block it enough. Beautifully done. Burned his real flash for the honor, and he gets the kill out of it. 3-0 for the mid lane of Evil Geniuses. Herald's here as well. Turret likely to fall, at least get low. They might get to stay. Insanity clears as much as he can, but there's a minion left. Puts in the culling. It's some low health. Farsight does at 5 health. The Ignite nearly drops, but the turret will fall. Good team effort. Sleep's not going to land. Evil Geniuses' gold lead is now 3,000.
Such a good roam down from Jizuke. His bot lane and junglers just barely didn't have enough to actually finish off that kill, but Jizuke had already moved very early on, gets down to that bot lane, picks up another kill, 3-0. Getting them that tower as well is just absolutely huge. And EG looking really good now in back-to-back games to kick off lock-in.
Really, really nice stuff. So, good job as they just kind of crush through this game so far. EG going to be a force to be reckoned with for sure. Lock-in is a single round robin, so every team's going to play 4 games in their 5-team group, and then a big 8-team single Elim tournament to figure out who gets the first set of bragging rights when the LCS season starts in early February. So EG so far off to the races. We know Team Liquid obviously look very scary as well. They're not playing today, though. Jizuke going to look for it. Doesn't quite guess where Insanity is going to be, but it's worth the attempt. It only costs him some mana.
Yeah,
you want to also call out? Oh, go ahead, please.
It's just interesting to see, how much Jizuke has kind of prioritized going towards the early game. Multiple early game items here. Went Lucidity, went Seekers. He has the Dorans, the Tier, as well as the extra mana from the additional early items. So he's trying to just index very heavily to surviving the lane to be able to be effective here against Insanity. He knows that Lucian was going to push him in. He knows that Insanity's looking to try to play this aggressively, and he itemized to try to withstand that. And yes, his Ludens is going to be later, but he's gotten so much done with this early itemization that it already feels like it's really paid dividends.
Yeah, it's always nice when the Seeker's arm guard is just free because you got 700 gold from the level 4 fight. Like, that's going to feel amazing. You're like, my champ just has 80 more stats than normal. This is good. I feel like I'm going to win lane now. Yeah, absolutely outstanding. Definitely for sure the meta build is early tier first recall into Ludens. But as you mentioned, yeah, could have gone fast Ludens instead. That's going to be a nice sleep, though. Insanity has cleanse, chooses to use it. Going to be tanked up by Joey anyway, so tanks the Paddle Star regardless. Hook comes on towards Revenge. Loses almost his entire health bar. Flash not going to be enough. That's kill number 7 on the board as Impact makes true for a second one. Now Insanity cannot get away. A bubble's in the way. So Joey's going to drop a Flash Flay from Ignar. Guarantees number 4. And really Immortals cannot buy anything this game.
It's looking like it's all over but the Crying Freak. EG just slamming Immortals in this game. You were trying to go for those fights and you were already behind, it has got to go well because there's so much risk involved. It's not just the kills that are going the way of EG. They're going to get the Dragon. They're going to get plates mid. I mean, it's not even 14 minutes. So such a big influx of gold to the team that's already way ahead is going to make this game incredibly difficult to recover in. But Jizuke, way too far up.
Combo. Gets a steal of Flash. It should still be enough. They make sure they give the gold over to Keith.
Oh, okay. That one was reportable, for sure. That was intentional. That was, oh man. Like I get wanting to greet out for the plate, but then he already killed the plate. He's just standing in their face, autoing under the turret.
That's a yikes, dude. That's definitely a yikes.
Yeah, that was a huge yikes. But you know, it's the two faces of Jizuke, right? You know, he sometimes he's going to get you those amazing kills, and sometimes he's going to give away some freebies. But, you know, give him credit for the previous fight. Landed the sleep on Insanity, forced out the cleanse, chunks Joey down incredibly low before this fight has even started. Then Impact on the flank. Revenge is going in, but he is isolated. The rest of the team is peeling off because Impact is behind them. The positioning, the poke early on from Jizuke, and the flank from Impact really left Immortals no options in this fight. Completely out-skirmished Immortals in that one.
Now, Azael, I would like to suggest a grading metric for things like what Jizuke did in the prior fight, or right before the replay, which is he took a plate and that was pretty cash, but to overstay and get killed, that was trash. And it's nice because it rhymes and they're opposites, so it's a very convenient,
this is such a you thing
fun to use grading mechanism.
So
just
is it
next play, cash or trash?
Cash or trash? Well, that was definitely trash. That's for sure. So we've now established that both Jizuke's play mid lane and your grading metric are both trash. We can go from there.
Okay, that's fine. Well, second Herald going to be grabbed. First one obviously was outstanding. It knocked down 3 turret plates and got first turret in bot lane. I think that was
Cash Herald.
Cash. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, I mean, we knew where it was going. But I had to lead into things that, okay, we'll move on. So, definitely an Ignar are invading in towards the top jungle. Now, careful because they were spotted by wards, but they've got their own vision to make sure they're safe. Joey and Sanity coming around, but Ignar's wards see that as well. Nearly hooked Joey. That would have been painful. And they can try to stay alive and try to defend the turret a little bit, but Jizuke's just free hitting. Like, there's too much support around him to be stopped. So, looks like it's going to be turret number 3 falling, and Immortals are 2 deaths shy of getting perfect gamed right now. It's just been all EG the entire time.
Yeah, just not really any opportunity to contest there, as you said. They knew Svenskeren was in the area. They know the bot lane is in the area. So they're just kind of losing out on all fronts right now. Very easy top lane turret taken. No real opportunity to try to punish there elsewhere on the map. Impact was pushing out mid lane, taking the scuttle on bot side. Now he's going to move down to meet Revenge down in that bot lane. So Immortals aren't really getting anything anywhere. They'll deny a couple minions in that mid lane, but it's not much of a win given what EG is getting across the map. And you can see the Mythics are coming through across the board here, it seems like, for EG. So they are at a very, very strong point in the game. Thankfully for Immortals, their Mythics are now completing. Double Gale Force picked up for the Insanity as well as Keith. And we'll see if they can make anything happen. I do think that they're going to be heavily reliant on a fantastic Gragas engage. It feels like you must catch Jhin or perhaps, maybe the Zoe and just delete them, with a great Gragas engage, cast someone in, burst them out. And then from there, you can actually team fight EG. But it feels like if you do not get that incredible engage, you're going to get poked out, you're going to be low before the fight starts, and you're just going to be completely outstatted by the massive gold lead.
Yeah, so somehow you have to make a miracle happen. And unfortunately, your CC is a bit telegraphed. They're going to look for Svenskeren here. Half HP on a hit, but goodbye! Bot luck gets eaten for lunch just now, and it's time for more turrets to fall. Mid lane tier 2, obviously under fire. They may just kill it before the charge. They'll preserve health if they do. Indeed, that happens, so good job to them. I'm not expecting Dancing Herald, but that said, we've got the hard engage. Joey comes in, he finds 4. A hard engage goes in towards Ignar. Cask does not manage to separate enough, and it just isn't enough damage. Obviously, Potluck was never there, but the Eye of the Tiger was there. The attempt was almost had, but if they had any money, it might have mattered. Just wasn't enough. Joey died for the play, and that is going to be Inhibitor in mid lane opened up as well. Low enough that they'll recall and not go for more.
Yeah, it feels like it's hard to know if that's really the time to go for it, though. Potluck was already dead, and your Desperation Engage is 4v5, right? It's not like they'd even forced anything off EG, so sure, you get a great engage if you're Joey, but if your jungler's dead and you have no ability to actually follow up on that, it's not really going to get you anything. At the end of the day, they still lose the mid lane turret. Now they lost both their summoners off of Insanity, so he's not really in a position where he can fight now, given that Impact still has Flash and can just Flash stun you, and that's pretty much a guaranteed kill. So I do think that Immortals just needed to take their loss, accept that that tower was probably gone after they lost Potluck early on, and then try to live to fight another day, because you get very few chances to come back from a game like this, and that's one that they've spent just now. So here's the earlier pick. This one was over onto Potluck, and the spear plus fourth shot combo, it's deer for dinner. Potluck went down so fast.
Yeah, that was some venison real quick. All right, goodbye to that one. You know, I'm sad as Azale because the engage afterwards looked really cool. Yes, it was just a soft int and maybe a hard int, honestly. And it was just like, here's another death. We got nothing out of it. But it looked cool, so I'm curious if the internet thinks it's cash or trash, because I want to know what the reason for everyone else. Because at least it was pretty. But we're on Dragon number 3 already. The gold lead's now 6,500, and it looks really doomed for Immortal, sadly.
It does look. And it's one of those situations where, like, I understand it. You know, you're playing this champion that has an AoE engage. You see the opportunity to go in on rail. You hit everyone. You're thinking this is perfect. But if your team isn't behind you, if the follow-up isn't in position, it's not going to accomplish anything. It's one of those situations where you just have to have the discipline to sit back, and that is some of the growing pains that perhaps Joey will have to go through here, you know, getting up to this LCS level. Obviously, Immortals is playing with subs. They maybe aren't as practiced together, maybe feeling a little bit of desperation, knowing that they are already very far behind in this game. And, you know, it is the first game of lock-in for them, so a little bit less warmed up, perhaps, than EG, who's going to be riding high off of an incredible game yesterday.
Yeah, they really do look stellar. EG is one of the teams to watch for sure in this early part of the season. And honestly, if they keep playing at this level, I think they are one of the sweethearts to push in farther, or maybe qualify outside. Sure, we're going far. Yeah, I mean, they're looking good. So want to see what they can get out of this one. Nice attempt by Jizuke. Can't get to sleep. Not going to lose too much either. And we just keep the siege on going. We know Cloud Soul's coming in 3 minutes. You might as well claim that, so you have Elder Dragon as a win condition. Baron's alive right now as well. Reasonably fast Baron team. And honestly, they could probably win any kind of peeled fight they went for, but you also want to make sure you're not taking too many risks and you don't give any options open.
Yeah, I think what EG is doing very well right now is just cutting off vision, right? You know, we do see that Immortals got a couple wards in their jungle, but they have nothing on the right side of the map as far as vision. They have nothing even approaching the river. The only wards that they just got down are now being cleared out here by Svenskeren and Jizuke, so it is a very dark and scary map for them. They have one ward total, you know, really in their jungle. Another just got placed, but this is very shallow vision, so if EG keeps you choked out like this, they keep you close to your base, when the dragon spawns, you don't even have an opportunity to really try to get over there. Because if you're trying to walk in fog through Thresh, through Nidalee Spears, through Zoe who could be over the wall and have eyes on you, it's not going to be a good time.
It's not. A little bit of damage done right there. Revenge can't land anything with a body slam. Impact just takes the front line. Jizuki just keeps going for a poke over the wall. Can't find any more targets just yet himself, but you can see this turret down to 1/4 HP. Easy hit now onto the Gromp as that's going down to half health, and it's just more golden experience coming in. You can see level leads basically across the board. And it's looking good, EG.
I like how EG is playing this out. I also like the fact that Insanity at least pushed out that top wave. They probably weren't going to be able to defend this tower anyway. So at the very least, he's able to pick up some farm and try to, get some items together, perhaps mount a comeback off of a good fight. Of course, it is going to be, a really low chance, but they're trying to take their opportunities. If you can't defend that tower, don't stay around. They push out top lane. They get some vision in the jungle. Those are very small wins for Immortals, but they are wins nonetheless because they had been struggling to get any sort of vision, out there onto the map. But it's likely that we just see EG setting up now. They're getting their recalls in. They can look towards this Cloud Soul, as that would be their 4th straight dragon this game. Immortals has some vision around the Baron now, but they still have nothing in that dragon quadrant of the map. And Ignar is already, sweeping out, checking if there is any wards. They're not going to find anything because nothing exists.
Yeah, I think the Immortals wards make sense, though. They're just going to give away Cloud Soul because, the dragon itself is not deadly, and there's no way you're gonna win an open field fight down 8,000 gold. So their comeback is, can we win when you're sieging a turret? Can we win when you're hitting Baron? We'll make sure we have wards and vision for those plays because that's where our comeback comes in. So I like that line of reasoning, and it's just up to EG to not give those opportunities away, which, they shouldn't, but that's the only way they even lose this game.
Yep, I agree. I think it is the play. You're hoping for that miracle at this point. Nice little sidestep there from Revenge on both the hook as well as that root coming through from Jhin, but the dragon is now spawning. It should just be soloed up, it looks like, by Svenskeren. I like not sending your entire team to do it because it's just not necessary. This way we can still have EG out on the map defending their vision, defending their pink wards, and keeping their opponents pushed in so that as soon as this dragon goes down, you can begin sieging in full force once more.
Yeah, I actually really do like how docilely EG played the last 5 minutes, because they're like, look, let's just cross the T's, dot the I's, claim the free Cloud Soul, right? We'll play really slow. We'll just guarantee vision stays up. No big deal. Once that's done, then we'll play their 5-minute-long Baron dance. Like, once we've got the guaranteed objective, you know, that we're going to have for the rest of the game, nice crit there. Definitely managed to, with the 4 shot, claim the red buff. Well done there. It's like, all right, now we can play Baron dance. They've been, you know, pretty reticent to siege because they're just saying, well, we're not going to risk that one either. We're going to get the guaranteed buff first.
Yep. And this Cloud Soul is actually fantastic for Impact, who has again gone for the Blade of the Ruin King. We see way more Sterix in general. You know, that is almost always the 2 items that Renekton's are going for, is the Gore Drinker into Sterix. He's going to be going for that 3rd very likely. But going the more aggressive option, yesterday he was ahead, today he is ahead, now he has that Cloud Soul. So when you are looking for those flanking positions, you pop the ultimate, you're getting that burst of move speed plus the flat move speed that you do already get from that Cloud Soul, and it makes it even more difficult for this backline to actually try to escape from and survive against this Renekton, who is going to be a monster in these team fights.
Yeah, and there's only one person with any meaningful armor. It's the tank that he's going to try to ignore in these battles. Immortal's hoping for a greedy move where EG was top side. Maybe Svenskeren. Team is pretty far away. I mean, theoretically, Body Slam Flash ult probably pulls him in, and maybe there's follow-up damage, but that was going to be a tough one to sell.
Yeah.
Ultimately not going to make that play happen. Impact goes in for good chunks of damage on a Revenge, who now can't Body Slam away. Ults to build some space, and Body Slams back to his turret. Dodges away from Deathly's root, but now top lane tier 2 likely to fall.
It is tough, too, because the Nidalee also has Zonias, so, you know, are you going to be able to kill him off before the Zonia gets popped and the Thresh comes in? You know, they're just not good targets because they can go towards luxury items, you know, early on when they have this massive gold lead. It just puts them in such a position of power, knocking down yet another tower, denying more vision. The vision game really has been very impressive from EG so far this game, and I think that's something that you can kind of track and really look towards. It's one of the more subtle parts of League of Legends at the competitive level, but the teams that are really good at doing this, it's so hard to actually come back from. And even just Ignar dropping the Lantern, stepping forward as though they are going to look for an engage. Obviously, they're 2-manning Baron at this time. They're showing Svenskeren mid lane to try to dissuade Immortals from checking, but now they are aware as EG goes back towards the jungle, and Svenskeren is on that Baron looking to finish it off. I don't think Immortals can really get here in time.
2 blue triggers used. Revenge blind ults. Not gonna happen. Well enough done. But now, is there a re-engage? Is there a fight? Joey goes in, gets flayed out though, can't find a CC, and now he walks too slow to do anything. Pops the ult, pops the stun, in comes Revenge as well. No ult for him, but gonna try to find the damage. Keith, ult's back to safety. Support's gonna go down. 1 for 0 so far. Insanity is kiting. Impact gets very, very low. He's asleep. He's gonna go down. A 1 for 3 though. Make it a 4th, and here comes the rest of them. It's time for Potluck to drop down as well. They did kill Impact. One thing C9 couldn't do, but it's not gonna be enough. 16-3, the Bud Light Ace. Evil Geniuses gonna have a 2-0 start to LCS lock-in.
About as good of a fight as Immortals could have hoped for. They took down Impact. They almost got a couple more, some low health bars there, but EG playing it well enough, cleaning them up. 2-0 in the lock-in. As you said, EG looking incredible in these early games.
And the nice play backwards. Joey for good measure going to make it a 2nd ace in a row. It's the same ace, by the way. He died first, and then he died at the very end. So back-to-back ace for EG. Technicalities are special. The Red Bull Fair makes it easy. That's going to be the Nexus going down. 17-3. Well done, Evil Geniuses.
Definitely a cash game from EG.
Yes! Yes, it was.
They're
They're
playing really, really well. Ignar, I think, looked fantastic in this game, was on point with the plays, was on point with the vision control. It's nice to see him working well with Svenskeren. I think Zeyzal is a great support, but it does feel like Svenskeren and Jizuke are guys who want to be let off the leash. They want to go for those crazy plays. They want to dive in and fight. They want to scrap it up. And Ignar is more that style of player, I think, than Zeyzal was for EG last year. You know, Ignar likes to engage, likes to roam, likes to move around the map, and seeing them actually pairing up well to control vision, control space this early on, I think does bode well for EG, moving forward, because these are the fundamentals that can make you great at League of Legends. When we watched TL last year, that's something we talked a lot about with them is how well Core JJ and the rest of TL controlled vision, and it made them almost an impossible team to come back against. When they were ahead of you in the LCS, they were pretty much just going to win the game because you could never get a foot in to find a way to come back. And this EG game was giving me kind of those TL vibes from last year.
Yeah, every strength you expected from the players on EG, you have gotten so far this season, short as it has been, to be fair. And now all they have left to do is to show, do the weaknesses still exist? Like, we know Jizuke is mechanically amazing. He's very aggressive. He can have those pop-off plays where he is 1v5ing. But does he overstep? So far, the answer is no, right? So far, he's been aggressive when it's a good time. But yeah, sometimes he goes in and it's like that. Okay, the mid-lane turret, you're right. That was the one, right? So okay, he has had some of those still. But regardless, EG have looked very good. They only give up 3 kills the entire game, which is impressive. We already saw they knocked down Cloud9 yesterday as well, which is also very impressive. Impact back-to-back games has just been completely outstanding and basically blameless, and great teleports in the bottom lane, great flanks, great team fighting. He's obviously super outstanding. Svenskeren seems as good as he has been for the last several years as well. So that's up there. Ignar hasn't dropped a beat. I mean, he was such a big part of why FlyQuest made back-to-back finals. Ignar could find himself a title here in North America playing for Evil Geniuses. So far, it's been pretty great. So beautifully done right now. Good job. And that is going to do it here for Game 1. So we're going to head off to... I can't read. There we go. We're going to step away. When we come back, let's say from Analyst Desk, we'll break down that win. See you soon.
A lion! Ah, yes, the king of the jungle. Time for a Red Bull. Red Bull? Still, you'll never be faster than a lion. I don't have to be quicker than the lion, just faster than you. Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back, everyone, to the LCS. For the first time in some time, I am so happy to be joined in the Verizon post-game interview with EG Jizuke. How you doing after a second W in 2 days?
Hello. Feels good to win. I think the game was too easy this time. We got a 2-0 kills here early game, so it was like they kinda gave up everything after that. But yeah, it feels good to win.
Yeah, specifically, you got those kills in the mid lane to set things off and really diminish any hopes from your opponent. But like I said, we haven't spoken to you in some time after not seeing you in the LCS during the latter part of the last season. What has the journey been like for you getting back to this point?
I couldn't wait to play again. I think people have a wrong idea about me, so I wanted to make sure to shut some people up.
Yeah, shut down any of the naysayers and instead focus on the excitement that is often evoked by your play. I mean, you are a very aggressive in-your-face type player. How do you feel that fares with the new roster that has been formed on EG?
I think this roster is for sure really open-minded about what we can do in the game. And I think we showed both yesterday and today that we can play cleanly and also play really aggressive at the same time. And let's say, don't make the enemy play the game. And just make the game ours, yeah.
Between both victories against Cloud9 and Immortals, you definitely took the game in your own hands. Jizuke, great to hear from you once more. Everyone, it's time for us to break things down on the analyst desk, so let's send it back to everybody to give us some insight.
Thank you very much, Latigris. EG 2-0 over 2 days, and Jizuke has been hungry to get back out onto the stage, he said in the offseason there, Kobe, to show everybody what he's truly made of and that he still has what it takes to compete. And this second game was wildly dominant. What were your thoughts on the way it broke down?
I mean, my thoughts were actually I felt bad for Immortals because right off the bat, this play towards mid lane, Insanity's feeling it. He's going in, tries to get the flash, not enough range. They fail there. Then Potluck also fail flashes under tower. And when you see a heavy poke comp get the Zoe 2 early kills like this, plus the blue buff, you're just head in hands. It is going to be a rough one.
From bad to worse.
I think Insanity kind of trolled with his items and build. Personally, I think it's a bit insecure to go Corrupting Pot and Merc Treads. And then for this bot lane play, I said earlier that Revenge plays solo queue really well, but in LCS he doesn't. If this was a solo queue game, there's a 0% chance he ever teleports down here. He has 0 mana, he doesn't do anything. If he treated this like it was solo queue, he would just push in the top wave and have been fine.
Do you think that that would have been the right play to make, though, or is it a good sign that already as a player he's looking for the team play, even if it isn't the right one?
Oh, I definitely think that's the wrong play. Okay, he should know he can't teleport in there as a pro. It's pretty simple to know what mana you have, and in this play too, I understand they're trying to make a play. The only time this would ever work out, this Dragonfly right here, is if Gragas is there from the beginning. He can't teleport in. He has to be sitting in a bush with his members to get that pick. He can't teleport in flank, because it's just not going to happen.
All right, definitely reaching a little bit at that point in the game. Primal, this was just utter dominance out of EG now 2 days in a row. And Jizuke is doing exactly what he said he wanted to do in that interview. He's proving that he still has value in a professional league.
He definitely has value, and I think the whole team just looks a lot more refined than they have in the past. I want to sort of identify what might be different, and it might actually be a coach difference. So Peter Dunn is a coach who's gotten multiple teams in multiple regions to Worlds, and now what we're seeing EG do is pick different comps and understand how to actually play them. Yesterday, we saw them go for more scaling with the Grades pick and the Kaisa pick. Today, they went for more of a poke comp with the Jhin, the Nidalee, and the Zoe, and both times, regardless of the difficulty of the opponent, we saw them really play to their win condition. So I feel pretty good about what I saw. One note on Revenge, I agree with High. He definitely messed up, but it could have been a bad call that he was trying to follow up on, because we got to remember, this is kind of a hodgepodge of a team right here, but it was bad.
The shot caller!
But sometimes it'd be like that, right?
Yeah, whose lips were moving? Whose lips were moving in that moment?
Sometimes you get called, you follow the call, and you look dumb. So who knows?
Yeah,
I want to give a quick shout out to Jizuke really quick. At that level 3 to 4 fight, I don't think many mid laners would have gotten a double kill there. He actually played that extremely clean to get the second kill into Potluck. If that was me on that Zoe, I would have gotten 1 kill and that was it. But he got both kills, and that was really well played by him.
If it was me, I would have just walked away with my life after that first flash. I would have been like, great, I lived. Let me just leave. I wouldn't have gotten any kills. And he picks up the 2-0 nice and clean. Kobe, obviously Immortals is working against a lot right now. They don't have their ideal starting lineup. They got the young academy guys in alongside the solo laners, and it was a tough first loss to the day. They're going up again onto the stage in Game 4 of the day. So my question to you is just, what would we like to see differently in Game 2 to just start building from somewhere?
I mean, for me, the thing that stood out the most was the terrible communication, and you can see it in a lot of the plays involving even just 2 players. In that last replay, the Dragon fight, you had Joey walk up to block for Insanity, and Insanity cleanses the Zoe bubble off and like walks away, and then so Joey ends up taking like 80% of his life to block someone who has cleanse and was walking away. And then they also have all these engagements where you can tell that it's really desynced, so they need to work on that communication. It's a problem that is not unexpected since they do have 3 subs, but it is manifesting quite a large issue.
It makes sense that it's one of the issues they're dealing with right now, but that's what we're looking for. Some cleanliness, some well-organized plays, and seeing these guys start to gel a bit together. That comes in Game 4 of the day. We are going to step away for a brief moment, but stick around for Game 2 between Golden Guardians and TSM. And while you wait, maybe you could subscribe to our new YouTube channel over at youtube.com/LCS, where you can see the latest episodes of This or That. That's Kobe and I. That's The Dive. That's also Kobe. Kobe's on all the content. We got tons of LCS content coming your way. Like, comment, ring the bell. You know what to do. We'll see you soon.
Assist of the Day presented by State Farm is back. And Scouting Grounds had numerous plays, including this team assist to get Andy Bendy first blood against Team Mountain.
He's got to be careful. He walked outside the bush.
Oh, here comes the hook shot. Going to land onto Gibble, and they're going to find a chain of CC onto Gibble, who's trying to flash over the wall. Will be able to get to safety with just a bar of HP left, but they're going for the dive, Joshi. They're still looking to pick up this kill with the Ignite. Andy Bendy will be able to grab first blood.
Hey, you made it back. Congratulations. It's just in time for game 2. Good choices. It's almost like there was a countdown on the top corner or something, but good job. You can read numbers. You're doing better than many of us out here. Now, of course, it's time for Golden Guardians to face off against TSM, and it's going to be a fun one here. Golden Guardians started off with a win. Good job to them. Their starting lineup, Niles in the top lane, Iconic in the jungle, Ablaze Olive in mid, Stixay in bot lane with support Newbie, and Coach Anero.
Everyone who can read numbers, doing better than my solo queue teammates. And on the red side, it's TSM in the top lane, Huni in the jungle, Spica, mid laner Power Revolt, bot and support going to be Lost and Sword Art with Coach Bjergsen.
Coach Bjergsen, hopefully he can have less than 5 wards or fewer than 5 wards this game. We're looking for real players in this one. It was a tough loss for them yesterday, but against 100 Thieves, it was a really, really strong opponent, and certainly you can shape up from there. So Golden Guardians is going to be the matchup there. And Golden Guardians, yes, as we mentioned, they had a feel-good win, but it was against a CLG losing a lot of the roster.
Exactly. I mean, CLG went 0-2 yesterday. They're definitely not looking like one of the strongest teams, and they had subs. Of course, 100 Thieves was a very, very tough opponent for TSM. You know, they did struggle a lot against them, but at the very least, 100 Thieves was 4 people from one team last year with one kind of upgrade in the top lane. They were expected to be one of the more top teams. Golden Guardians, though, was a fantastic surprise. They came out of the gate swinging. They have these 2 guys straight out of Collegiate who both played a pretty strong game. I think Iconic in particular was really looking strong. He had that kind of dream Graves game where you're ahead of the solo laners in levels. You have an incredible amount of farm. You're life draining through everything. That is what you really want to see here. But if you're a TSM fan, if you are TSM, you want to try to bounce back because this is an easier opponent than what you faced yesterday against 100 Thieves. And they want to be able to try to start building some confidence, building some cohesion, because this is guys coming from a bunch of different rosters. You know, unlike their opponents in 100 Thieves, really it's 5 different rosters that the TSM players were playing on. Yes, Lost was on TSM Academy, but Spica was playing in the LCS in summer, so still a lot of work to be done by TSM. We'll see if they can start here.
Yeah, and so we'll see how much they can tune up. We know that the intent for the Golden Guardians roster in the first place was growth. Like, from their own ownership and leadership, they're like, look, we're not expecting to be a finalist team in the first year. I mean, their top jungle comes out of the collegiate program, and hey, they were top-end collegiate players. Like, Maryville's probably the strongest, like, university overall in collegiate League of Legends, and yeah, they grabbed 2 of their best players. But, like, they weren't even in academy, right? Like, these guys were going through school to say, okay, on to the LCS stage, let's go. And I'm excited to see how these players grow over time. And you know, if Stixay can reinvent himself, because he had that LCS title, right? He had that MSI finals, and then it felt downhill for a while from him, and he was part of the CLG slumping down and down and down and getting more disappointing, and now he gets to reinvent and say, look, I'm on the roster where we're all going to show up, we're all going to rise up and get good again, and he gets to go ahead and battle TSM. I mean, he beat them like once his entire CLG career, right? So, you know, what better than to double it here on Golden Guardians as the picks and bans start.
Yeah, and I think sometimes a change in environment can really do something great for you, right? You know, if you've been kind of stuck in a rut, as Stixay has been with CLG for quite a long time, you know, even just that change in environment really can do you good, right? You know, maybe he can have that resurgence. He is obviously the kind of like lone veteran force here on this team, you know, as far as the LCS is concerned, and we'll see if he can impart some wisdom onto some of these younger players, if they can, you know, really start to improve throughout the course of the split, because to me, that is the benchmark for success for Golden Guardians, is getting better throughout the split, seeing improvement from these young players, because if Golden Guardians can find, you know, 1 or 2 young players that are from NA that they can build around for the future, you know, hey, maybe in a year or 2, you import players around them, and all of a sudden you're pushing for a championship.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, maybe it turns out that, you know, Niles is the next Licorice and Iconic is the next Blabber, and we're just going to keep naming C9 players. I mean, Stixay won the LCS in his first split, replaced Doublelift, and still won a title. Like, these players, you know, I mean, I want to say, like, we have seen players pop off instantly. I want to kind of go back and, like, think about World Champions. Like, how many times was there a player who won Worlds in his first year? Like, Jackie Love won in his very first year. Like, you've got all the Donwon guys who, like, showed up for semifinals the one year, then win it, like, the next. Like, this kind of stuff can happen. You can pop off early on, but let's focus on
Golden Guardians are going to win Worlds. You heard it here first.
Golden Guardians are going to win Worlds here, from collegiate world champions to world champions. It's basically the same level of play. Talia locked in for Iconic, played Graves yesterday, gets to play another high impact, high farm, high damage champion. I think Talia is maybe all around the strongest jungler, just based on the world we're in with League, where most good top laners are carry AD champions like Renekton and Camille. Gonna see that Spica gets the Cane Hover. I love that. His very first LCS previous game was tragic. I think we'll say trash on Kane, but gonna go ahead and just give him the hover. We know he's gonna play Nidalee, and he'll pick something else soon.
Yep. I do like that he is throwing that hover up there. And as you said, these two champions combine very well with a lot of the meta top laners. Renekton is already banned out, so they go to Camille. I would love to see Huni pull out a Jax here. I think that Jax Nidalee can fight very effectively against Camille as well as Talia. The 1v1 is favorable to Jax. You outscale the Camille in that side lane. It is obviously less of like a reliable engage, but that's really the only big advantage that Camille kind of has in there. Gnar is what Huni played yesterday and did not have a good time on it. This is perhaps the safer option, but a lot of people feel that Camille can actually win this 1v1. If you can get all-ins on the Gnar in mini Gnar, there is the potential to actually punish this pick. That being said, if you are not playing aggressively in that top lane, or if you were put on the back foot, these melee versus range matchups become incredibly difficult very, very quickly. If you're under your turret, getting poked away at by the Gnar, losing turret plates, you can fall behind in a hurry. So we'll see how Iconic and Niles can really kind of pair up to try to punish Huni if he is pushing.
Yeah, and I will say this doesn't feel like a super hard counter overall. I know he played it yesterday as well. Solo Q win rate puts it as very, very slightly Gnar favored, but like under 1%. And hey, you can take your grain of salt with that data. Pro play is obviously different, but it's not like you're taking Sylas into Malphite where it's just the most free matchup of all time. It's like, well, you're slightly favored, but I would say like Niles, to me, I think his most iconic champion is Camille here. Like this is one that I've seen him really pop off on and he plays a lot of, so that's exciting. Also seeing Golden Guardians to take the early Galio means they're clearly going for that hard engage style. Talia can get in there, the Camille Galio's going to get in there. It's another very aggressive composition with a lot of kind of global pressure. We saw that TF was already banned, but Blaze Olive himself can just play the Galio. It's one of his champions, and he can just play at the global.
Yeah, you could play that mid lane. You can also play that support. I think that is also completely fine. We've been seeing a fair bit of Galio support in some of the other pro regions. A couple of those marksman bans coming over towards Stixxay. He did play the Kai'Sa yesterday, which was already banned out. So Kai'Sa, MF, Samira all taken off the table. Jhin already grabbed up there for a loss. So really putting out a lot of priority on getting what should be a winning bot lane here for TSM. People very excited about Sword Art coming over here, seeing what he can do fresh off the World Championship Finals is this player. And we'll see what he's going to be going for as his pick, because it is going to be last pick for Sword Art. So it does feel like, yes, you can use your last pick support to try to round out your composition, but generally when you do that, you want to try to pick for the winning 2v2. And I think that in combination with the fact that they already have multiple marksman bans feels like they're going to try to go for a winning 2v2 and try to bully Newbie and Stixxay.
Looking forward there. I mean, Jhin, yeah, you're going to have a hard time finding a lane strong enough to handle him, but Stixxay going to go back to his tried and true Kalista. He's had some great performances on the champion. We've seen some from other AD carries in the last year here as well. We get to find out if Galio is his support. I think Galio Kalista works quite well together. You throw him in, he gets an extra engage tool, and it means you can move your mid lane to something else. I thought he might have just played Galio based on the style of play he had before. And Seraphine, also an option. I think she's a good mid and support, so that still leaves the question in the air. Now I gotta go for Thresh. Galio does go mid. I was right after all. I just kept rambling until he locked something in. Kalista to Thresh, a very, very good lane as well. That is a lane can stand up to Jhin. Maybe a Morgana for Sword Art. We'll see though, but Galio mid does mean a lot of damage and global pressure across the squad.
Yeah, and Galio mid is going to have a lot easier time linking up with the Camille, especially in the earlier stages of the game, than a support Galio would. And I think that's largely why they're going for this pick. This kind of guaranteed engagement of Galio ultimate on top of the Camille ultimate. You're locked into that Hextech ultimatum. It's also very powerful in the side lane. If Huni is exhausted, if you come out of Mega Gnar and you're stuck in that mini Gnar form, you can all in on that for sure. Talia's ulting in behind you. You get ulted in by Camille. Galio comes in on top. You are very squishy in that mini Gnar form, and you can get burst down. So we'll see how well they can play around it. If Power of Evil can kind of try to keep a Blaze Olive locked in his lane, if Spica can be around behind Huni to try to protect him from those sorts of all-ins, because it does feel like they're going to be playing heavily through that. And the last pick, Alistar here, this does feel more like it's for the team fight and just having kind of some guaranteed ball delivery here and engage rather than for the lane, because I do expect a Thresh who is playing on the Tournament Realms and who is on point to be able to flay out a lot of those Alistar engages in the 2v2. Of course, there is the potential for Q Flash and these sorts of shenanigans, but it's not the most reliable as far as what I thought they were going to do, going for a winning 2v2, which maybe you would have gone towards like a Morgana or something like that to try to answer the Thresh and win the lane.
Yeah, I think your point about it being more for team fights is really accurate, because my mind immediately went to headbutt when Camille dives onto a Jhin or someone, or an Orianna. It's like, okay, if you headbutt the Camille out, that breaks the ultimatum, right? Nothing else. QSS won't do it. Zonies won't do it unless you immune the actual spell itself. If you kick her out, then it ends, and that's how you can let your teammates flash to safety or find some way to get away from Galio overall. So that seems like what it's about, and we are on there for this one. Golden Guardians started off LCS lock-in with a win over Counter Logic Gaming. Actually, just CLG, their official name. TSM, also, by the way, not Team Solo anymore, just TSM. They are on the red side. They lost 100 Thieves, but that's one of the very strongest teams in North America. You can give them a small pass, as it is early on for the roster. Wards over the top. Golden Guardians going to spot themselves on a ward. And there's always no one's nearby. They're not going to get stopped or scuffed or anything, but good of, I believe, Huni, or actually it was most likely to be Spica, who dropped the ward and came back for a sweeper.
Yeah, just some early defensive vision there, and because they spotted them out, we can see that Lost is actually invading to get a ward down of his own. Very defensive start, actually, from TSM. You could see they had an early lane ward in bot lane, seeing if they were stacking there. They had the Tri-Brush ward, so I don't know if this is just kind of scouting out what Golden Guardians has been doing in scrims or something like that, but it felt like TSM was very much expecting the potential level 1 invade here. Of course, Talia has a very powerful level 1, maybe something to do with just the champions that they had picked, but TSM ready for it. They do spot it out and stop that, so we'll see where they want to take us from here, as Lost is going to be starting in lane, doesn't have to leash because Spica is starting up on that top side on the red buff. And it is going to give them the early push here and the earlier level 2 very likely.
Yep. One small thing to point out as well in mid lane is the fact that Blaze Olive shared that ward ward XP across 4 players. I believe a 4-way share is still enough for a solo lane to get level 2 off the first wave. So that might give him a little bit of pressure against Power of Evil. Sharing across 5, I believe, does not give you enough, so it's kind of important Niles wasn't there, or if someone else could have hidden away. Regardless, though, top lane, early push going in. Grasp can be tough for Camille into ranged champions, in that, Gnar is that for 80% of the game, so, unless you're going to burn your hook shot just to harass, you're not going to get much out of that Keystone. This actually could have been an Omnistone option, to be honest. I think this is one of the matchups where you could maybe get use out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw, what was it Bin at Worlds, where we saw something like the Omnistone Ignite TP style, try to answer against some of these range matchups. You can do that sort of style. Of course, this may just be a comfort thing, not being used to that. But generally, yeah, you don't see Grasp as much against the range matchups. People used to do Comet. That is less common now. But I do see more things like PTA oftentimes, or even Conqueror against these types of matchups, because it often ends up being more about the all-in than kind of the back and forth poke, where Grasp is going to be most effective, stacking up the bonus HP from that and just being able to get these small trades.
Grasp used once, of course, had the shield, so blocks the turret shot, but still takes 3 hits back from Huni, and that trade went about equal. So wave gets shoved in. Talia is top side. We know Spica's on the other side of the map, so theoretically a chance for a dive, as Icon is going to take down Scuttle Crab and does the fairly standard Talia clear, which is skip wolves, do everything else. Start bottom, go to top. That's going to work pretty well, but ultimately just going to end up grabbing wolves afterwards and doesn't go for any kind of plays topside.
And you can see that TSM was actually pinging right on that Scuttle Crab as Iconic was doing it. So having a very good idea of where he would be, of where they expect him to be. And it's always really nice when you have a jungler who is very competent at tracking this, or perhaps it was someone else doing it. But, largely it is the jungler calling out where they expect him to be based on the timings, based on knowing the speed of clear for those champions, and having accurate tracking is going to make it a lot more safe for Huni, but nice for Niles because he did get to fully push in and reset the wave, and he's going to be able to recall without actually having to expend the teleport. So grabbing a second Doran's item here, plus the refillable, has the Doran shield now, plus the blade, will be able to withstand a lot of this kind of range harass that could come through here from Huni, and we'll see if he's going to be able to get control in this lane.
Yeah, Huni himself able to stack up a bunch of extra health. Mininar has, I think, the literal lowest base health in the game, at least by high levels. He's eventually got less than Yuumi as that scaling kicks off. But early game, he's still fairly frail. Grasp gets to kind of supplement that a bit because the flat 3 health per trigger is actually pretty meaningful at that point. It's a substantial amount of your tankiness. So Huni's going to stay alive right there, pushes in his own wave now, takes his recall back at 5 minutes. We know that The first dragon spawning in a second. We've still got 3 minutes to go until everything else comes up. And this nice little flay. Yeah, Nubi's going to take almost no damage here. Aftershock on. It's actually going to land up pretty well. But, okay, I take it back. Took more than almost no damage. Aftershock turned off, and Lost got 2 autos in.
Yeah, that was honestly just really nice. Sword Art got point blank, so there's no chance of actually flaying the headbutt. And then he headbutts him against the wall, into the root, then out of the root. They do that pulverize, knocking him up in the air. So pretty much maximizing the CC that they could have there to get the extra auto attacks in, to get the extra bit of damage. Then obviously Trample stacking up. You get the auto attacks done from Alistar on top of all of that. And just really nice layering of those 4 different CCs, essentially.
So those plays were really great. That attempt at a freeze from Golden Guardians was trash. Like, it was a nice attempt first by Newbie to catch the wave. Because if you catch the wave, you can hold a whole wave there, and it's a freeze, and then you deny a bunch of Golden XP as Lost and Sword Art have to recall. But the way it was managed, there's only 2 minions left, and it's right in front of the turret. This wave will always break, and it will go right back to TSM's turret. There's no way to make them overextend. You will barely deny any farm, and it's you know, you can't set up for the Talia gank because they can just sit under the turret anyway. It's not going to do anything bad for them. So, yeah, you can see it kind of mismanaged. Still grabs the cannon, missed 0 cast minions, misses 2 melees. This could have been an entire freeze, and they only denied 2 melee minions, and that means that Lost is going to be able to get almost all the golden XP. That said, bot lane is still shoving. They've still got pressure over the lane. With it going into the turret, it means that, hey, no problem, they can just show up for the Drake instead.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, if they were trying to freeze, it obviously was very mismanaged. If they're trying to set up a slow push to then go for the dragon, hey, then it worked out. So they do at least get something from that pressure. You know, the wave gets pushed out. Stixay, yes, he's not denying any minions, but he doesn't lose anything because he did reset it, moves over to the dragon. They grab that for themselves. So not too bad overall, I would say. You know, it just kind of depends what you want to prioritize. Do you want to prioritize the gold from a freeze, or, you know, going for those early stacking dragons? And in this case, I think with Kalista, it can make sense to try to move towards a quicker soul, and we'll see if they'll be able to continue that stacking going forward.
Okay, well, the stacking is going all right. Farm pretty equal across the board there. Even the junglers within one camp of each other. We get a replay of a top lane fight that we hadn't seen.
Yeah, we'll see exactly what does happen here. I can't really break it down because I have no idea. But it was, okay, so Flash ultimate there, looking for the spear from Spica, but Niall's able to flash out from that. So it is just a trade of flashes from those top laners. Huni obviously expending the ultimate, but that's not really a big deal for Gnar. As generally speaking, it's up anytime you do want to use it. The cooldown isn't very long. But Niall's going to be happy to have escaped that first gank, and we can see it Blaze Olive kind of cheating up towards that top side. And anytime you do see him missing, we are going to have Huni playing pretty darn safe. That being said, it looks like they did have top scuttle, so that is going to provide some safety there for Huni, who's going to be without his flash for the next couple minutes and has to be very wary of the potential gank coming through from Talia or Galio.
So now Sword Art, with a nice aggressive control, gets to get behind Golden Guardians here. Now, Stixay is level 6 on Kalista, so Thresh is basically not a real target, and Thresh himself can play at this range and say, hey, if you go for any play ever, I would just Lantern Kalista and she's safe. This is ungankable with this kind of play. Newbie, I think, playing the lane really intelligently. I absolutely love Threshers who understand that, look, half the time in lane or a third of the time in lane, I'm going to play a screen behind you, because now if I'm threatening Lantern, there's no play. And we're always safe, we're never killable. And the ability to play far up as an engaged support and far back as a disengaged support, I always really respect players who are intelligent enough to identify both those halves of the champion.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, that is so much of a champion like Thresh's positioning, right? As you're saying, are you putting on pressure because you know your jungler's in the area, or you're ungankable right now? Are you in a position of vulnerability when Iconic is topside, so you're sitting behind your AD, because the added pressure you get from maybe denying a CS or two isn't worth the potential trade-off of dying there. They should have been spotted on that ward moving over towards mid, so Power of Evil going to be playing very far back. Spica is up on that top side, but Iconic should be able to grab a pretty easy Rift Herald here, because they do have both push in top and mid, and he has grabbed that for himself, and now they're looking to move 3-man top with Rift Herald. And we'll see if they want to try to commit to a potential dive here, but Huni is going Mega.
Awkward. Huni's Mega Gnar. The first stun is immune. They're going to find the Galio knock up all the same. Talia's going to cut off the retreat. He's flashless. He's going to take a lot of damage, and they're going to find first blood. Blaze Olive throws out the S for swag. Golden Guardians gets first blood.
Nicely done by Golden Guardians, but honestly, I have got to hit Huni with a bit of a question mark ping there.
Yes.
You knew that they killed the Rift Herald. You knew that the jungle was up there because of that. Mid lane is missing. It's Talia, Galio, Camille. He has his ultimate. You do not have your flash. And in that situation, Huni is jumping forward to try to ult Niles into the wall. I mean, yes, maybe you win a trade there, but he should have been back behind his turret in that position, not looking forward to trade, not looking forward to try to go for an engage. And again, Huni 2 days in a row giving up those easy kills on the top side. I mean, there's full information that they're going to be moving up towards the top side, looking for a potential play like this. And yeah, Huni just going in, looking to trade, and gets Hextech ultimatum. Easy ultimate from Talia, cutting him off behind that turret. A Blaze Olive over top with the taunt, tanks it up. Nicely executed by Golden Guardians, but Huni sure made it easy for him.
Just imagine he saved Gnarlt for that dive right there. And Blaze Olive has Spellbook, not, Aftershock. So you set him on a turret, you get a trade kill for that one. Yeah, definitely an overextension for Huni. That was very notable. It's a misplay for sure. Still, it is a kill. It is about 1,000 gold on the Golden Guardians side. And honestly, if you came into the season saying, hey, Golden Guardians are going to have a lead against TSM at 11 minutes, you'd be like, this is first place versus third, or sorry, 10th place versus third. I don't agree with you. But Golden Guardians have started this lock-in tournament very, very well.
They really have. They are playing as a cohesive unit, and Huni has been kind of off in his own world through 2 games, has not been coordinating well with the team, in a number of different circumstances. So we have to see TSM try to improve on that. Now Power of Evil potentially in some trouble.
Hill gets taunted, 2 shoved back. He's so low, his flash is already gone. Shockwave catches the Blaze Olive, but who cares? He's going to survive it all anyway. Beautifully done.
Yeah, nice gank there. It doesn't cost them anything except a little bit of time, and they get the flash off of Power of Evil. They get the ult off of Power of Evil, so no real threat there. And now they can even start to cheat up towards topside. Look at Huni. He is back by his tier 2 now, knowing that there's no ability for TSM to actually respond on the top side. They're going to get a full turret in the face of Huni here. He is already down over 30 CS. He's going to lose even more. He's going to lose the entire turret. Niles is going to be monstrously ahead of Huni here. And if I'm Iconic, I think I even just stay around and escort this into the tier 2, threaten over at the red buff, threaten a potential dive, because if a Blaze Olive starts walking up here, Huni could actually die on his tier 2, and I think you could even deny more of this farm.
When he plays it right, he could deny the charge. Actually pretty easy because Wave's in the way, but in case it was going to go through, yeah, I kind of would like to see Iconic and Niles push more to shove the Wave in to make that charge more likely to happen, get the turret down to about 1/3, but end of the day, it's not going to mean too much. There was a Drake traded, well done to Spica. He went and soloed the Ocean Drake as all of the shenanigans are happening topside, so a small consolation prize, but obviously you'd take a full turret with 5 plates over that one every day of the week. 1 turret plate taken on the bot side, good job to Lost and Sword Art for their small advantage down there.
Yep, looking very good thus far, in this 2v2, but it's been pretty passive in the bot lane 2v2. Lost is doing well, and we'll see Sword Art now has Swifty Boots if he wants to try to get out on the map. He is playing Phase Rush. This is kind of for the chase down. You do your initial combo, you pop your E, and obviously have to stack up to be able to get that empowered auto. And so what Phase Rush does is you can proc it pretty much immediately, and then you just run on top of them with the increased speed to hopefully then stay up on top of that carry, smack them with the auto for the stun. Oftentimes you can even chase someone down post-flash and land that stun, so it can be pretty effective, but you are trading the upfront tankiness of Aftershock for this, so especially if you don't have your ultimate and you are playing Phase Rush Alistar, you really are paper.
Yeah, and thankfully, I guess there's no true damage on the Golden Guardians roster aside from Camille Q, so, the ult's going to do okay at keeping you alive against most of it, but yeah, as soon as that time's out, it's rough stuff right here. Looking like a scuffle in the mid lane here, 14 minutes in, TSM can look for a play as Newbie's going to stack up some of those Relic Shield hits. The play's all going to kite back. That's a root. That's a Lantern, though, and you would have loved to Shockwave it if there was anything but a Thresh waiting to make that save.
Yeah, exactly. Newbie again, right place, right time, sitting around, trying to defend him. We can see that Sword Art moving back towards bot side, but 6A, well aware that he could be in trouble, is going to be able to kill off the wave and then just back it up. TSM having a lot of vision down in that lower quadrant, trying to play around Dragons, trying to play around Lost and Sword Art. They are playing a very passive game. It by no means is TSM out of this game. They are behind, and especially in that top lane, they're very far behind as they go for a kill on Power of Evil.
Beautiful. Oh, I wanted to talk about how good Rocket Belt Galio is in mid lane. You pop the active, it's a bunch of move speed. You can chase anything down you want. Spica's got to get away. He's going to try to live. Otto still coming through. Iconic's here as well. Welcome to the LCS. Welcome to the 3-0 start in your second game. Beautiful so far. Golden Guardians showing everyone what's up. And now Niles wants to dive Huni under his turret. He's got a Galio backing him up. Goodbye to Huni. This is amazing. Golden Guardians are slaughtering the opposition.
TSM is in absolute shambles. They are getting stomped by Golden Guardians here. Golden Guardians again looking so strong. No fear across the map. You talked about it, the Rocket Belt play to start it off on Power of Evil, bursting him down with Iconic. They then catch out Spica and Stixxay flashing in to soften him up for his jungler to get that kill. Then knowing the jungle's dead, mid lane is dead, Niles going in for the dive on Huni. He was mini Nari, he's playing Divine Sunderer. He is not tanky whatsoever. And a Blaze Olive, the easy ult over top. After killing the mid lane, he's up in the top lane, getting another assist on a kill there. So here it is one more time. This was just really well set up. You know, you talked about the Rocket Belt. We're going to get to see it in action here, just trying to stay in range of Power of Evil. Then as he steps forward, they know Iconic is right there on the side. Rocket Belt, flash, taunt, into the Justice Punch. The seismic shove comes over the top, and Iconic, you know, boxing out Spica so he can not actually chase down a Blaze Olive for the kill. Then Stixxay flashes over, cannot finish off Spica, but he has him very low, and Iconic coming in with the ultimate, getting another kill while the Blaze Olive roamed up towards top. Nice shockwave, though, from Power of Evil.
Yep. Sword Art wants in. Newbie's an easy target there as well, still getting shot in, but pulled back. Beautifully done. Huni can't land the ulti either, and they all get away with it. Golden Guardians, they have made every offensive play work. They have made every defensive play work. But the next Dragon's up in a little bit, and the health bars are low.
At the very least, TSM should get the Dragon off of this. I don't know if Golden Guardians will be able to reset in time to actually contest, but it could have been so much more. Huni had Flash available for his ultimate there, and Power of Evil had a lot of the members of Golden Guardians pretty buttered up with that shockwave, but Huni with the swing and the miss and not able to connect on anyone.
Well, it's still likely to mean the Drake unless you get some kind of miracle steal. It's super unlikely, but Niles waiting around. Iconic's behind. He has Flash. They get the vision. Does he even go for the play? It's such a risk if he does. He'd be probably boxed out. Goes for the hook shot. Can't land that one. Over the top he goes. Galio gonna show up in a second. Sword Out an easy target at 5 HP. Flashes the way to safety just barely. Galio comes in. A Blaze Olive on Spica. Can't find that kill just yet either. Lost on the way out. Niles, yeah, he's got to run away. Iconic got to be careful now as well. Boxes off the team. Lost is alone. He's got to be careful. The two autos will kill. Iconic's one auto away from dead. Flash the way to safety. Blaze Olive has to run away as well. A mismanaged fight. That bounce could have meant to kill Niles. What? Finds himself one as well. Slows down Huni. He's got to run though, and they somehow get away. A messy one for sure, but somehow at the end of the day, Golden Guardian still goes 1 for 0.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to go bad for Golden Guardians. It seemed that they were over chasing a bit. TSM did a good job in the initial play, pulling back. But then Niles finding the kill onto Lost, has the team behind him, able to escape after grabbing that kill. Golden Guardians just looking so good here. TSM had already pushed back Golden Guardians on the previous play. They had the reset. They try to go in for the fight. The initial hook shot misses on Spica, which kind of dissuades a lot of the chase through. You can see that the Camille is moving down towards the bottom end of the fight, trying to get Sword Art and Huni, a Blaze Olive, kind of going forward bit by himself. Stixxay was hesitant to commit to that play, knowing he didn't have his flash and didn't really want to funnel into the corridor. Then as Iconic and a Blaze Olive go over here onto Lost, it looks like a Blaze Olive maybe is going to get chased down, but Newbie again, right positioning with the Lantern, then the hookshot flash coming through from Niles, taking out Lost. And Huni cannot chase in because of the members behind him. They're trying to set up for a dive, though, onto a Blaze Olive. We'll see if Iconic can get up here. He doesn't have ult, and a Blaze Olive is looking like he's in 1v4.
Sword Art has no ult, so we can't take a turret very easily, but now Blaze Olive is alone. He's going to taunt one. He's going to put backwards. He's going to flash away, and he's going to make it out. He's going to make it out. He's just fine. Has to burn a summoner for it, which is certainly a cost, but still no deaths on the board for Golden Guardians. That said, they are down 2 Drakes to 1. And their turret lead is only 1. They have managed to win in champion combat. They have managed to certainly get more push overall. But TSM can still strike back. They can look to find plays. And look, if it really goes well for them, they're 7 minutes away from Mountain Soul. And that can turn a lot of a game around.
It really can, but Golden Guardians are not being inactive during this time. Yes, their mid laner had to flash, but probably going to kill mid lane turret. They got the mid lane tier 2. They already got the bot lane tier 1, and they're pushing the bot lane tier 2. So Golden Guardians got a lot during that. They do lose the top lane turret, but they get 2 of their own. They get about half the HP off the tier 2 in bot. And they have a monstrously strong Camille. They can play through split, try to continue punishing Huni, who is so far behind. It's already 2 completed items there for Niles, plus the upgraded boots. He's about 2,500 gold ahead. Even more like 2,700, 2,800 gold ahead of Huni, who's really down in the dumps this game. And you can continue to bully side lane. You can try to play 1-3-1, but Camille at this point can also just show up to a team fight, engage on someone, and one-shot one of your carries.
The attempt towards Sword Art's not going to be easy. Find some damage. Niles gets back out with a Lantern, but now it's time for a Blazolve the head up. And again, hard to kill an Alistar with ult. Finally gets a bit chased down, but still walks away with his life. Sword Art did not need Aftershock. Phase Rush was enough to walk away. Well done to him. No kills picked up. Ulti's burned. You can still see this game is within striking distance. Yes, it's certainly a Golden Guardians lead. And they're going to start to take away some more control. They want bot side. Looks like they want to play around the Dragon. Iconic chunk to half HP. By some nice plays out of Lost. A shove gets the bottom scuttle, but that'll despawn before the Dragon spawns.
Yeah, nicely done by Sword Art to be able to knock Camille out of her own ultimate and be able to escape with that phase rush. But, you know, the downside of that is he now doesn't have his ultimate, he doesn't have Aftershock, so he's going to be very squishy for any fights in the next minute or so. And, you know, Sword Art is the tankiest member, and they almost killed him through his ultimate. If that's anyone else from TSM, they're pretty much just dead instantly against that combo. So there's a little bit of safety for TSM while the Galio ult is down. But we'll see if they can make anything happen from that, as I do think Golden Guardians are going to want to be around to try to fight this next Dragon, unless they think that they can get, you know, an inhibitor or something major from Niles not grouping and just continuing the split. And Niles is pushing up on the top side, but doesn't have a lot of vision for himself right now because the rest of his team is focusing around this Dragon. So it really is telling me that they're trying to get ready for the fight, and given that Niles has TP, he can push pretty safely as long as he sees, you know, even 3-4 members. There's not a tremendous amount for him to worry about in any 1v1, and really even in most 1v2s, he should at the very least be able to just hookshot away.
So I'm going to point out something I find very interesting, which is the fact that Sword Art is going for Turbo Chem Tank this game and not something like, say, a Locket, which is the, I would say, more like obvious and normal tank support item where you just buy a Locket, keep your backline alive against the hard engage. But now, over the bottom side, he's going to go for a headbutt, go for some damage on a Blaze Olive. He's going to get locked up a fair bit, but stays alive. Damage on a PoE. Newbie's got to run away. He's getting pretty low, gets pulled back in. Huni, when can he find his play? His ult's already down, has to jump back over the wall, but now Sword Art's going to be chased. Flash in for the Ren. Stick Save finds that kill. Says, I can make finals too, don't worry about it. Now on the go towards the Mountain Dragon, and Golden Guardians holding control of the river, going to tie this Dragon score up.
Yeah, Sword Art, you know, as you said, going towards that, he wants to go for all the engage tools that he can. With Golden Guardians this far ahead, though, they're up 6,000 gold. They can just go straight to the Baron. You have Kalista for the secure, and you still have your ultimates for the turn and fight. You have the ultimates from all of your top side. Talia can even ult out their opponents. If Spica comes too close here, it's an easy hookshot over the wall. Ult them up with that Camille Galio combo and look to burst down Spica. Are they going to commit to this? They just have to make sure they don't mess up on the smite.
Correctly, it's on to Styx. A Shockwave, beautifully done combo with Spica, and they get the kill on a Niles as well. Is the start of the comeback. Kill number 2 comes across. The long-range snipe comes through for Nidalee, and that gold lead has been cut in half. What else can they do with the Baron buff?
Huge steal there for Spica. I mean, that would have been the straw that broke the camel's back. That would have been game-ending damage. And now, a Blaze Olive, you are out way too far. He could be dead potentially here as well. Power People has Phase Rush to chase down.
Yeah, flashes to keep the dash from going any farther. Flash from Olive to get away from the Javelin toss of Spica, which keeps him away for a bit longer. But he's still running low, still going to get chopped down. Iconic gets a flash away from Sword Art. And just like that, TSM have brought the game down to 2.5 thousand. And they're looking for some more turrets. Mid lane tier 2 is going to fall. Top lane is going to get pushed in pretty soon as well. TSM have come alive.
Yeah, they absolutely have. That was a silly death to give up, though, from a Blaze Olive after losing the Baron. I wanted to see Golden Guardians not go for the smite fight, but to actually turn and just kill off TSM. They're so much stronger at that point in the game. Nidalee, you know, can be burst down by the Galio Camille combo. You don't have to risk it in a situation like this. They see that Nidalee is over the wall. Why not try to go for the fight instead? A Blaze Olive is TPing in behind, stop damage on the Baron, look for the turn and fight. Instead, it is the Shockwave coming through, the Smite is landed perfectly, the Rend Smite combo did not come through whatsoever from Golden Guardians, so TSM, the mid-jungle combo there, just simply outplaying on that Baron secure, and the Shockwave not only helping them actually kill off the Baron, but it pulled Niles out of his hookshot and allowed them to burst him down immediately as well, and now Niles up very, very far here. Doesn't have support behind him. He's got to get out of there quick.
I will call out the Y-axis starts at 1400 here, so this is not the gold has been tied up, but yes, this is still a catastrophic drop in gold lead. It's been cut down to 1/3 of what it was. This is actually more like 1/4 of what it was. So TSM well and truly can start the comeback now. Still a minute left in this Red Bull Baron, and I want to see what else they can have happen here. 4 turrets to 5. They've still got top and bot lane tier 2 to go for. Plenty of time till the next dragon comes up, but you got to start probably putting your wards towards the bottom side of the map. The Golden Guardians ones are starting to time out down there in their side of the jungle. Looks like no one's going to get collapsed on. This could be close. Actually, Huni could spot. Oh, Huni. He thought he was going to get attacked there by Niles, but actually, if he autoed, would have stopped the recall and found another kill.
Yeah, because there was no one around there, but obviously he doesn't really know. You see someone that you're not expecting. It is just kind of a reaction-based play there from Huni, so understandable. But TSM right back in this game now with the Orianna completing multiple items at this point, and Power of Evil closing in on that Xerath, on that third item for the Orianna. Lost getting very, very strong, actually ahead in itemization over Stixxay now, has a stopwatch on top. The Turbo Chem Tank is done. 2 items done for your jungler. TSM are in a great position at this point, and Golden Guardians, unfortunately, had a game full of solid plays, but one critical mistake they lost so much on, giving over multiple shutdowns, giving the Baron, which led to multiple towers. You can see Camille down on this bottom side. That is the major lead still for Golden Guardians, so they're trying to make the most of it, having Niles split push. But TSM now, if Niles isn't there, is actually in a position to just straight up fight, because if both top laners are over in a side lane, TSM actually has a gold lead in the 4v4. Golden Guardians has 2,000 of a gold lead on Niles, and they're only up 1 pay at this point.
Yeah, it's really top jungle versus the rest of the team as far as gold is concerned here, and the rest of the team now on TSM are feeling pretty good. So do you want to see what kind of fights we are going to have? Right now, the ward coverage is better for TSM. You can see a bunch of wards all around the pit itself. Only a few of these can be swept easily. Control wards down there as well. Iconic could be spotted. Sword Art is seen on the ward. Got to be careful on this one. He's going to kick in Niles. Could be a lot of damage here. Cut down to half. Niles going to take the javelin as well. They're going to stay alive. Scuttle going to be an easy claim. It should be at least. They missed a couple of shots. Pull it back in. Get the claim. Was a little close. Almost got grabbed by Power of Evil, but it does mean some guaranteed vision on the Golden Guardian side. That said, pit's more opened up. You can still take it from the side, and it's not going to be that big of a deal.
Pretty big win, though, for Golden Guardians, because they got the ult and the ignite off Alistar, and they didn't commit anything, right? That was just a hook shot, forcing out that ultimate. So Sword Art is going to be so squishy without that, and we'll see if they can make the most of this. Huni now TPing in and join the fight.
Huni built up the entire rage bar and pops in. This is ideal timing. Well done to TSM. Well done to Huni to build the bar up, then TP in. Going to be claimed. Dragon number 3. Soul point for TSM. The gold difference only 1,000. Niles comes in, looks for the engage, dives in on a PoE. Zonius keeps him alive. Sword Art in the front line, but he is squishy. Shockwave catches one. They're going to get a shutdown and a Power of Evil, though, and it's time for the chase. Niles dives in, can't find Lost, but he may just lose his life, and he does. Sword Art shows up for the combo. Trade it back, though. Niles, sorry, Iconic on a triple kill, and he's looking for number 4. Lost. He's going to be his health bar. That's going to be the health running low. He's trying to find the crit. Can't get it yet. He's stuck under his turret. Looks a bit wide. They're going to shove in some waves. What's the play going to be? Baron in 40 seconds. That's going to be hard to set up for. A 3-for-1 as the trade for Dragon.
Yeah, it is pretty good for Golden Guardians on the back end of that play, picking up a lot of kills there, but not quite nailing the execution as Niles not able to land on a few of those combos. The initial engage here over on the Power of Evil, but Niles can't get his ultimate off in time. And so does take quite a bit of damage against the wall there. Sword Art was doing a good job zoning with Huni. They know that the Mega Gnar is active, and just with the tail end of that Rage Bar, Huni's able to scoop Niles into the wall. A good Zonia has blocked the initial bits of damage coming through, but Niles able to get forward on top of Power of Evil. Iconic had the flip in place, and then Niles going into the back line, but a little bit of a solo mission and takes a tremendous amount of damage there. Sword Art flashing in to help finish him off, making sure they knock down that Camille. And the fact that Lost got out did mean that TSM didn't really end up losing more than just the couple kills, and now are the ones starting the Baron for themselves. Blaze Olive is down on the bottom side. I don't even think that they're aware of this.
This is pretty beautiful. There's pings going on. They're like, hey, this is looking a little fishy. Niles is like, wait a second, we got to pull the TP. We got to get everyone in here. Okay, it's at 1,500. Niles going to dive in for some damage. Can there be a smite steal? No, it's going to go over to Spica. Is that enough for TSM to win the fight? Lost Kites away, jumps over the wall. Poor Sword Art's going to be left alone. But you will trade Alistair for Baron every single time, and there's not going to be a chase down. A great call for TSM, a solid escape, and the gold still stays at 1,600 apart.
Really decisive stuff there from TSM. They saw that Blaze Olive was down on that bottom side, and even though Golden Guardians did sniff it out, it was too little too late. By the time they got eyes on the Baron, it was already down to 1,400 HP. One auto from Jhin, the Q smite from Nidalee, it's gone from that health at this point in the game, so there's not really any chance of the steal, and because of the peeling there from Sword Art, they couldn't actually get any chase down and kill. So Golden Guardians is trying to push now, but Sword Art is respawning, and that's going to mean they will have to back it up. And they're going to have this Baron, till right up when that next dragon spawns, and that could mean soul for them, because they should have the run of the map during this Baron.
The division given away. Iconic gets back into not combat. Puts the ulti down just to be safe. He was going to be fine with all the move speed to get out to Talia ult. I think he was never going to get chased down. But in case the TP move speed meant PoE could go for the shockwave, takes the safer play. Realistically, in 2 minutes, there's not going to be a fight anyway, so the Weaver's wall is not terrible.
Oh, Niles might get caught.
Getting a little chased. If he's paying some level attention, he can still hookshot it away. Kind of goes near the wall. He's far enough away that, oh no, he's not far enough away. What a perfect pulverize. Niles goes down the Hex Flash. He was not expecting that part of it. Beautifully done by Sword Art to set up that kill. Extra gold in the pockets of TSM are sieging again.
Beautifully done by Sword Art, as you say. Really nicely timed, but you have to say, Niles knew that people were in the area, had no vision in his jungle, no one from his team behind him, and despite a fantastic start to the game for Niles, they built up a big advantage for him. He hasn't really been effective with that lead, hasn't been able to turn it into anything for the team, and TSM now feels like they're starting to run away with this game. It turned on a dime at that Baron, Spica with the huge steal, but from there, TSM have played a strong game, and they're going to engage on Stixxay.
Engage. Stixxay's going to go down for this one almost certainly. Taunt comes across, a flash to safety. Sword Art going to tank up with the ultimate, gets pulled back with a lot. The Rend comes through for not anything more. Stixxay has ulti, but Newbie burns the flash all the same.
Niles
There's a long cooldown gone, and now it's the TP flank. Spica going to spot it out. Niles, yep, he's hatched a couple of wards. But can you keep TSM busy? Can there be some kind of re-engage? Keep in mind, Blaze Olive has ultimate. And if the rest of the team can join up, this would be a huge fight. But also, Mountain Soul is up in 27 seconds. Golden Guardians, they're going to let TSM recall away. I think TSM played enough with Fog that they couldn't know where they were anymore. And Niles couldn't set up that play. So they're going to wait for everyone to heal right back up. And it's going to be a climactic battle as Baron times out to play for its Mountain Soul.
Yeah, Niles, I think, was hoping that they were going to overstay and try to go for that mid-inhib or something. Then he could have got something out of the TP, but with TSM retreating as a 5-man squad, even if a Blaze Olive comes in over top, the rest of the Golden Guardian squad would never really be able to catch up, it didn't feel like, and so TSM has gotten that reset, are over here on this dragon. This is Soul, as you said, if they can land it. A Blaze Olive trying to sneak in around behind, but Golden Guardians have got to go pretty soon. TSM are just focusing the dragon.
Okay, nicely done by the front line. Once again, ulti's coming over the top. Niles going to have to kite away. Blue team has taken the dragon. Good job to Iconic. Shotgun.
Mega.
Niles, top lane is going to get put low. Hooney's in front. Has to jump away. Sword Art once again has the ulti. Weaver's Wall comes up. Separates the team into a 3 versus 5. But is it going to be enough? A Blaze Olive can't find the target. Looking for damage on a Hooney. Not going to be enough. Down goes the Galio. A dragon for 1. TSM will take that fight. And keep in mind, bottom inhibitor is gone. So a 5v4 siege can end the game. They're trying to run, trying to heal up off the minion wave. But Iconic, by staying for the chickens, has to flash to get away from what could have been a re-engage. It's time for Golden Guardians to keep running away, to keep catching the waves, but Spica's on the chase. He wants a bit more, gets pulled in. It's not going to be enough. It's going to be Iconic forced to run away again, slowed down by Hooney, and TSM can keep the siege going. Superminions come into the bottom lane, a wave in the front as well. They try to wave through, but one turret's going to go down. A Blaze Olive, 22 seconds away still. TSM will lose the wave, but they will claim one turret, they will claim the mid-inhibitor, and they are still on Mountain Soul point with Baron at 140.
A good chase and punish from TSM. They didn't get Soul, as you say, but they are able to pick up some gold and really, really close now to ending this game. One more fight with only the one Nexus Tower alive with 2 inhibitors down, and the game is pretty much done. Power of Evil, has to be said, did a great job, though, in that 5v5 around Dragon. He got split off from the rest of the team. It was him and Swordart on that bottom side, and he kited away, was able to land a big shockwave and got so much damage out onto multiple members of Golden Guardians, really dissuading them from being able to chase forward. And it was good positioning from TSM to not really allow Stixxay to get very involved in that fight. You know, Stixxay is on his 3 items. He has a lot of farm, but he was really having a ton of trouble actually accessing anyone to auto.
Yeah, and that's the tough part here right now is that, you know, Stixxay is a short-range champion, and he needs to be able to get the damage across, and TSM with the gold lead, with the map control here as well, minions flooding into middle and bottom. Sure, Golden Guardians gets more golden XP that way because they can just catch the waves and they'll bounce back and they can go for it again. TSM will probably just win the game off the Baron spawning in 30 seconds. It seems so likely for them there. Huni gonna zone them out. Blazolve trying to keep up in his income right now. Swordart just feels so safe to walk up, go for big wards. Iconic could get a shove, but Swordart goes the other way around, finds the pulverize all the same. Zhonya's burned, but this could be enough of the engage that they want to go for it. Nice shotgun comes across, Swordart getting attacked a lot. The Rend is stacking up, but Stixxay can't stay any longer. There's still so much risk out there. Now 2 ultis are gone. Hard engage comes in. This will be a kill on Alistar. This is a 5v4, but they can't find anything else. That was every ult but Weaver's Wall burned, and now they can start looking for Stixxay. More damage comes across. The Blazolve very, very low. They have to take all the shots, and be careful now. Huni low on Gnar energy, has to wait for a while. Niles can't find his way in. Be careful of the 4-shot, putting him down to half HP. More damage onto our Stixxay as well, and the bot lane is stacking up. Baron is alive, but be careful because a lot of this base will die to just the minions.
Yeah, Niles just barely not able to connect on a lot of these hook shots, and Powerfuel has TP'd back. There's low health bars on a number of the members here from Golden Guardians. TSM is down 1 member, but Golden Guardians basically have to rush this because supers are going to be pushing, and TSM, if they land a shockwave, which is going to be up in a couple seconds, it could be their Baron, it could be their fight.
Stixxay needs to free hit, and they need to find Niles to get away into this fight. They're going to look for the fight pretty soon. Huni has Mega Gnar there. They're going to go for the play. What a perfect ultimate! Huni has arrived, and he has shut down the team fight. Baron's going to heal up. Shockwave catches 2. TSM is back, baby, and Huni is the reason why. Stixxay's going to go down. He can't fight for this one. The Bud Light Ace in TSM. The Faithfuls will be rewarded for a victory here. Knocked down so heavily, but they will shove it to the base, and they will claim their first victory of LCS lock-in. Baron steal after Baron steal. Spica is a smite god, and Huni, it took more out of scale, but he found the team-winning ulti, and the Nexus will fall, and TSM will win.
Yeah, beautiful Mega Gnar there from Huni, ulting Niles out of his hook shot, immediately stunned as he tried to come out of that Baron pit, tried to turn for the fight. TSM, they surely had to work for it as Golden Guardians had an incredible first 20 minutes of the game. But that hero Baron steal, for me from Spica, really changed this one. It felt like so much about the mid-jungle duo here from TSM. The playmaking there, combining for that shockwave plus Q smite coming out of the Nidalee, stealing that Baron away, felt like the turning point of the game. And those two were massive in the team fights as well. And you can also see that wasn't the most impressive scoreline. Swordart did have some really nice plays, catching Niles in the bottom lane, sacrificing himself in a number of different scenarios to actually allow his carries to escape to help finish off kills. Some pretty selfless play from him there. TSM going to be happy to have come away with the win. Still a lot of work to do to shape up in what was expected to be a landslide victory for them, but ended up being a really tightly contested game.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing is now you got to think about what does the game mean overall? What's it going to mean for the players and their thoughts? Because as you mentioned, right, TSM coming into the week, you're like, okay, Hundred Thieves is a close game. You know, their fans give them the edge, probably sure, but like that's one where you can lose and say, okay, yeah, they're a very good team, no problem. But Golden Guardians is the team you should come in and be like, we just grabbed Swordart, like PoE is the best understudy for Brixton we could have gotten. Like, we should be clapping. Like, this should be free. And it was a lucky win. I say luck, it wasn't RNG, it was a good Shockwave Smite combo, sure, but like, wow, you needed heroics to have a chance at winning that game because you were getting outplayed for 23 minutes straight. You came away in the end, you know, Huni finally found a good ulti at the end to help stuff some of the re-engage as well, good stuff, but like, man, that was such a hard play to go for. On the other side though, honestly, if you're a Golden Guardians fan, you should be happy. They complete smash CLG, and they honestly looked good against TSM. Yes, they got screwed in the Baron play. They could have played it more cleanly, absolutely. Niles overstated some silence a few times, as you had called out, Azael. Agree with that one as well, right? There were misplays, but like, this is the second game of pro play for 3 of the players, and I mean, that still looks really good. If it's your second game ever, for all those guys, especially Iconic, I think he was the most blameless of the squad. Like, look, overall, pretty well played to this squad. I think they are very, very good, and I can honestly see this team. People are expecting 10th. I don't think 10th for Golden Guardians. Get the rest of their whole rosters, give them a practice. Golden Guardians may be a playoff team already. Like, they look good.
They really do. I mean, it's a disappointing loss given the state of the game. But if you look at what your expectations were coming into these first 2 games, they won their first game. They were competitive with TSM in their second game. And so a great start from Golden Guardians. But TSM do come away with the win, and rightfully so off the heroics there. And on the other side, we'll hear from TSM's mid laner, Power of Evil. Don't go anywhere.
Your Honda MVP! Dreams aren't achieved overnight. They take passion.
It's Mr-Twinki.
Dedication. And even then, there are no guarantees. But for the LCS, that's the power of dreams. Too bad! It means you never give up. It means you always play again. Honda, proud automotive partner of the LCS.
Ooh, welcome back, everyone, to the LCS after our first official barn burner of the 2021 season, and it's TSM who
that was
comes
on
out
fire, all
on
right.
time. Some things were on fire, and we'll get into what those things were. There is a whole heck of a lot to talk about, and I promise you we will get to the comeback mounted by TSM and how they ultimately came away with a 1-1 record here on day 2. But Hi, I'm coming to you first. I know you have some strong thoughts on the way that Champ Select broke down in this one.
Right. I actually think GGS, even though they lost, they have the better draft. It's really easy to play Camille, Galio, Talia. Like, their team comp is super easy to play. One, getting picks early game and then 2 team fighting, you kind of just Camille ultimate either Jhin or Orianna or Nidalee, and then Galio followed with that ultimate, but they didn't really do that later in the game. So I thought the draft went in the favor of GGS. It's just they kind of threw a little bit in the game.
Yeah, they had a great starting point. It wasn't just the draft that set them up well. The early game went entirely in their favor. And now I'll just broadly ask the question to you, Primal. Did we grossly underestimate this Golden Guardians squad and the potential that they have coming into the year?
Of course we did. And how could you have not? I mean, at the end of the day, you want these players to do well, but they're coming from collegiate. We don't know the caliber of collegiate players. But yet again, we've seen that Iconic and Niles can step up in these moments. And in particular, I thought that Iconic had incredibly good Taliyah play, really immaculate ults that I think kept the team in the game even when they were behind. But yeah, I rated them 10. I rated them as a hard 10, and I was wrong. So these guys are good.
Yeah, honestly, and you can see it in some of these clips too. Combining what Hai is talking about with the draft, with the individual performance of Iconic, he played the Taliyah exactly how you need to. A Blaze Olive, setting up CC there, roaming to the top side for the 3% dive on the Gnar when Huni had offensively used his flash. It's a lot of things that made the early game look so good for Golden Guardians with how crisp they are working off of a lot of this early pressure, pressuring the entire map.
This here, a nice cheeky little play by Niles. We thought the fight was over. He sees the opening, goes in one more time. I mean, that's some of those mechanical plays that we're looking for, the prowess that we're looking for in the young talent that we want to be developed here in North America. And Primal, I think the question is, does Golden Guardians have the infrastructure? Do these guys, have the resources behind them to continue to level up in that fashion?
Yeah, I think they might. At the end of the day, they have a really seasoned coach in Nero, and this is a team that does have veterans on the squad in Stixay and Newbie from LLA. So I think there's enough mentorship available, and the issues that I saw in play, for instance, Niles having some questionable team fight plays, will go away with time. So I do think they have what they need.
Hi.
I wanted to talk really quickly about this Dragon because I think GGS should have won this game. They kind of threw it. One little part there, I don't actually like the fact that they traded Dragon for top plates. I felt as if when you're the winning team, you don't want to be the one doing the trades. They just burned Orianna Flash. I feel like that Dragon should have been theirs, and they would have had earlier pressure on the Dragon's soul. So I don't personally like that trade from GGS.
Hi, you said at the top of the day you wanted to coach every single team in the LCS. So there it is. That's the Golden Guardians coaching hat that was just put on. Kobe?
Yeah, I definitely agree that when the macro started to come into the big picture here, that's when we started to see the cracks in Golden Guardians. For the first 10, 15 minutes of the game, everybody's like, oh my God, this team looks so good. Everybody go pick up collegiate players now. But, Hai talking about that Dragon play, and there were multiple Baron plays where you could tell half of these Golden Guardian players in the Baron pit are actually just scared shitless. They're like, oh my God, they're about to steal it. We can't engage. Are they going to steal it? And you have these moments. That was the first Baron that was stolen away by Spica with Power of Evil doing the shockwave to interrupt the jump. And then this is the last one where Golden Guardians, they get the pick, they're 5v4, but they don't have a lot of resources left, and they know, you can tell from the positioning of the players in that pit, that they know they are dealing with fire right here, and it is a very, very risky play, very low chance of actually, getting that Baron and ending it out with the stuff that TSM still had available, Shockwave and all the ultimates, and then Niles trying to hook shot right into Huni, who gets a big Gnar ultimate. He had definitely missed a bunch. He had a lot of trash that game, to use Freak's terminology, but the one at the end was cash, and they cashed it into Baron.
And you know what else was cash? The way that TSM didn't just turn into stationary wards when they're behind and tried to make plays. We saw Sword Art making a couple of beautiful plays on Alistar with headbutt pulverized combos. We saw Huni at least trying to get good ults off, even though it wasn't working. So at the end of the day, like when TSM gets behind, now we know that they're actually going to try to do things as opposed to the past. So I think kudos to TSM. It was a little bit rough. I'd be concerned if I were them, but they did bring it back.
Right. When there is a throw, right, one team has to play well and one team has to play bad. So, for example, in that 23-minute Baron one, I would have preferred G just to never do that Baron in the first place. But since the fact that they did, they needed to recognize what they need to do to secure that Baron. I would have liked if Niles had just suicided onto Nidalee so that she can't get into the pit and then Kalista would just smite with Taliyah. And that would guarantee the Baron for them. Yes, 2 people might die. obviously Camille would die, but that's a worthwhile trade, right? And then on the flip side, I think TSM played that super well. They noticed it was 2k HP. They said, hey, burst now. Nearly jumped in, Orianna Shockwave, and they stole the Baron. So it takes one side to be good and one side to be bad, but it's a bit of both, right? So.
Without a doubt, TSM happy to come away with a win there. Both teams now sitting at 1-1. I personally am always pleased when everyone's preconceived offseason notions go flying out the window on day 2 of the entire split. That means we're in for quite a year. Now it's time, though, to hear from the victorious mid laner, rather himself, Power of Evil. Tigers, take it away.
Thank you so much, Dash. It has been a wild lock-in tournament thus far, and I am happy to be joined by TSM Power of Evil for your Verizon post-game interview. Still getting used to seeing you in the jersey. A different game compared to game number 1 for you and the rest of the squad. How does it feel to have the W, despite it being a bit scrappy there?
Obviously, we are very relieved that we, clawed our way back and won that game. It was definitely not a pretty one. I think it was actually pretty similar to the first game that we played, where we just fell too far behind in the early game and did too many mistakes. So that's definitely something we need to work on. And props to both teams that we played against. I think they played a fantastic early game against us.
We saw that experience really come through when you all adapted to turn it into a victory. And the thing about you and this squad is, we have to be honest, all eyes are on you, Power of Evil. You know this. TSM has only ever been known for their 2 mid laners that have held this position before. So what has this transition been like for you, already being such a star player yourself, but falling into such a formidable role?
Well, definitely, obviously, since a lot of casters, analysts are like having the eyes on me, obviously I need to perform, and that's obviously the goal. As always, being on the top and trying my best. And I think I have very great teammates, that can accompany me and help me out. And we obviously really a fresh team getting together. I think we're doing a pretty good job so far. I think we, just need a little bit more time to, really click together. But I think it's going good so far. And I think this with Shockwave and that we were confident afterwards when they were in this disarray that they just lost a Baron, that we even killed a few more members, and it just really swinged the momentum entirely.
And you all definitely did a lot with it, which is hopefully putting some confidence into those that are the TSM fans out there. This is a lock-in tournament, something that we haven't experienced yet in the LCS. It leaves a lot of room for overreactions, and I'm sure you are familiar that people were kind of rushing to Reddit and things after the first match we saw from TSM. Do you have any words for those that might have been doubters or things at these early moments of the season?
Actually, before we even played the first game, I remember I had an interview and someone asked me, like, what do I think about the lock-in tournament? And I really think the lock-in tournament is mostly to see what is your team's strength at the moment and their weaknesses, and what can you fix and what can you, learn from this event. Because obviously, unless you're first place, you don't win anything, right? So you should just try to get as much experience as you can, get that stage time with your teammates, be in that high-stress situations, and just really see like, oh, okay, we are struggling because of these mistakes, or we're struggling because we're not adapting towards this. And I think you can learn a lot from this lock-in tournament, and I think most teams should try to, just see what they can take away from this to do a spring split.
Last thing I want to get from you before we end it is, in terms of learning a lot from this tournament, getting to face off against a lot of new players. You just faced off against Ablaze Olive, who did have some great moments. Is there a new player coming into the league that you are looking forward to facing off against most?
Well, definitely I'm looking forward to face Perks again. I think he's a great mid laner, and it's a long time that I didn't face him anymore. I think it was Misfits and Origin when we clashed on in multiple finals against each other. So I think it's going to be wild seeing him again on the Rift in North America now, and happy to face him.
We're all looking forward to that matchup, Power of Evil. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you as well.
Speaking of Perks, on the other side of this commercial break, we do have FlyQuest facing off against C9. To find out who is victorious there, stay tuned.
Jake from State Farm. I would like to formally extend my gratitude for the Russell rate on my insurance.
Do you mean surprisingly great rates from State Farm?
I don't believe in accepting help. but I'll make an exception.
Here's the deal, Russell. There's no special rate. These prices are for everyone.
With the oak and the eagle as witness, consider us square. I made that from memory. I know your face that well.
When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hello and welcome back to the LCS Lock-In Tournament. I am Freak with the one and only Azael. It's amazing. Now, I actually have a thought I want to bring up because I think it's interesting. And it's what Power People talked about in his interview at the end of last game, where he valued the sort of practice that people get in playing the Lock-In Tournament. And one thing I realized with the format is there's only 4 group stage games. And then top 8 out of 10 get to play playoff matches. So if you bomb out in 0-4, you're the worst team in the LCS, and you got 4 practice games and none else. See it in Spring Split, hope your problems get fixed in scrims only. Whereas everyone else gets to play more games and continue to refine. And it kind of dawned on me that, like, it's really important that you scrape together something right now. Both these teams, by the way, coming into the day, winless.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it is very important, you know, both for the extra practice that you are getting, but also just for confidence, right? You know, it can be pretty tough mentally for a team to just get swept out of a tournament like this, you know, even though the stakes are not as high as they will be in the Spring Split and, you know, the tournament before MSI and summer and so on and so forth. people really want to win these tournaments. They want to look good. They want to impress. They want to start off on the right foot. And I think winning is important both for practice and confidence, as you're saying. And both these teams are coming off of really bad games. You know, we have Cloud9 going up against Licorice, obviously their former top laner. Both Licorice and Fudge are coming off some pretty bad Ornn games and are looking to impress here. You know, Fudge obviously had some pretty big words for a lot of the LCS players, you know, saying that they're brainless. He doesn't have to really prepare that much. He's not that worried. Licorice obviously has been one of the best, if not the best, top laner in the LCS for the last couple of years when you're looking at it as a whole. And he's going to really want to show that he can still play at that level. Of course, FlyQuest is playing with a sub. Jose Dioto is not in there for them, but they still want to bounce back off of a pretty tough game one.
Absolutely, and I am curious now how these teams shape up. We're looking at Evil Geniuses as a clear frontrunner, but like Dignitas really impressed us yesterday as well. So I am like very curious now where everything's going to shake up. I mean, we've seen Golden Guardians continue to play better than expectation. I want to know what happens with Cloud9. I do need to give some shade to Perks here. He tweeted out like December 29th last year, quote, "Okay, I've decided. I'm going to go the whole LCS opening tournament without dying." He is the current death per game leader of the LCS lock-in tournament. To go from I'm going to go deathless to I have the most of everyone is a shocking turn of events there. And I mean, for how much cash Cloud9 paid to get him, his performances so far have been the opposite of that. They've kind of been trash.
There's only one game sample size, to be fair, and I respect the commitment. It's 0 or 100, you know?
Yes.
If you're going to die, you're going to die the most. He's still first place in something, Freak, so we'll see if he can bounce back and get first place in a more preferable stat after this game.
Yeah, of course, we'll never get revenge against EG until the playoffs themselves, and I'm curious if that does come through down the line, or if EG drops the game, and there's some contention for first spot out of the groups. But of course, we are in a champion select. Akali, Kai'Sa, Olaf all dropped off the table. Renekton and Pantheon dropping here as well. Now, of course, Licorice and Fudge were both on Ornn duty last game, and Licorice himself went 0-4-0. It was a rough one, but they're like, all right. We were on Ornn duty and had a hard time because we were against Renekton, so that one gets dropped off the table. Talia dropped off as well, and so Nidalee is going to be the very quick lock-in on the FlyQuest side.
Yeah, I wonder if Cloud9 will just try to take away, one of those priority top laners, something that they think might combo with the Nidalee. Like if they're worried about, something like the Camille Nidalee that we have seen, those types of picks, you can go towards that. Of course, if Fudge is comfortable just answering with a different pick, then they can just sit back and wait. Blabber going to be on his Kindred. This is really, I think, where Blabber first started getting known, was kind of this Kindred Zillion type combo that he was playing, and he had been very good on a lot of these ranged junglers. So I'm going to be excited to see Kindred. It's not a champion we've been seeing a ton of. We've been seeing, as far as the ranged junglers, just a ton of Graves, but not really a lot of Kindred. And I think, Kindred can work pretty darn well in this meta, does scale very well as long as you're picking up marks to get the additional range. You can be quite effective. Galio, obviously a nice combo there alongside the Kindred. You can time your Galio ultimate as the Kindred ult is expiring. You come down, you taunt them up, you burst them down as they come out of that Kindred ultimate at low HP, or at least that's the idea. And it also does feel like it's setting up for a potential third pick of a Camille for Fudge, if FlyQuest doesn't want to grab it right now.
Yeah, and looks like they're not going to be going for it, instead taking high priority champions. We've seen Jhin taken pretty early on blue side a lot so far in LCS lock-in. I think Leona has generally been the most highly prized support, so not surprised to see this one come through as well. And yeah, if you want the Camille here, you can grab it and then supplement with 2 bans, no problem. And that can be Cloud9 easily playing that style, and we'll see how that one runs down. Do want to point out one more thing with Cloud9. Of course, they also parted ways with their head coach in Reaper, so this is the first time in C9 in several years with a big change-up in coaching staff. Rainover now head coach, of course, Mithy there right behind him, and it means that we've got Perks, Ven, and Mithy back together, of course, for a whole bunch of fun. Back with, I think, the first really dominant G2 era was when those three were all playing together, and now we get to see what else can come through, as it is the Camille, as you called out, so good job, Azale. That big brain is what pushed all that hair out of your head, and mine's just genetics,
Exactly.
but yours is from all the Galaxy brain. Yeah.
It's possible that Galio could be going down to Vulcan. Obviously, it could be Perks, like we saw last game for a Blaze Olive. We saw that combo working very well for them in the early game. Of course, Niles wasn't really able to convert on the lead that he did accrue for himself alongside his teammates. So we'll see what Cloud9 does want to do just the threat of the flex is always really nice, especially when you are playing with an early pick like that. Having the possibility of a flex at least makes your opponents consider that this could be going in either role, and sometimes can dictate whether or not they would want to pick mid lane right away here or save it, potentially for later.
Alrighty, well, looking at the bans coming through, a mid lane ban and a top lane ban to preserve the Syndra, and one more to come through on the FlyQuest side. And I honestly wouldn't hate a support ban if you can knock the tier list down well enough. I'm not sure if it's Alistar or what you're going for. I do kind of agree with the idea that it seems like Galio is the mid laner here, just because it does fit the composition. That said, who knows? Maybe he's going to go for Yone anyway. I mean, Yone is actually a pretty good, Galio delivery champion. In fact, Yone is great alongside Kindred, because you just ults and you pull them out of the Kindred lamps with Bite and just chop them up. It actually works pretty nice. So wouldn't be horribly surprised. Misfortune's been banned so many times we don't get to see her played very often. She's obviously very strong as well, and Ben's going to be part of the teamfight Wombo combo.
Yeah, so I did like the Jax ban. That is always a really tough matchup for Camille, so taking that off is pretty nice. There's not a lot of other Camille counters that people really seem to play in pro play. When you look towards solo queue, people play things like Darius sometimes, but that's not something that you really do see in competitive play hardly at all. And then there is the more kind of extreme answers, like if you want to try to go for a range pick, you can go towards things like Vayne. But my guess is at this point, we're just going to see a teamfight comp. We might be getting Ornn again, or even a Malphite, who I think can work pretty well into Camille early on. I think Malphite would fit well with this composition. You have Orianna, you have the Leona, a lot of go buttons there. The follow-up with a Shockwave, pretty powerful. The Jhin ultimate coming over the top can work pretty well. Also, as there's a lot of squishy members over on Cloud9, so that could be pretty nice. Fiora would be really interesting.
Yes.
This is exciting. This is committing much more to that side lane play. We have not been seeing much Fiora in a long time, even when it has felt like it fits really well. The parry is a great answer to the hook shot. There is sometimes a little mini game where Camille will hook shot to the wall and then try to hold the hook shot, or try to do it, by pulling the Fiora right to the wall and then standing against it, meleeing and trying to do the point blank one so you cannot react to the parry. Because if Fiora can react and parry your hook shot and stun you with that, there's also the reduced attack speed attached to that parry, and Fiora can dominate a 1v1 if you are able to do that. That being said, if Fiora cannot do that, Camille definitely does have some really nice trades into her and does have the potential to win this 1v1. So this is going to be exciting. This is what you want to see when it's two top laners trying to prove their worth, right? Licorice getting replaced by this guy and busting out the Fiora against him. He's going to try to lay the smackdown on Fudge.
Yeah, it's like, Cloud9 sold off Licorice to get enough money to buy out Perks, to get the rest of the money to take that buyout there. And said, don't worry about it. Fudge can just replace you. He doesn't count as an import anymore, so we've got room on the roster. Honestly, it's not really even a downgrade anyway. Then Fudge came out and it's like, I don't know, people are saying it's going to be hard. Players in NA are brainless, and it's like, all right, so Fiora, Camille, the matchup, let's go, right? And I'm just excited to see what happens now on this top side, because it's going to be fun, it's going to be spicy. Licorice, we said it yesterday, I think he comes in as the expected best player on this team on FlyQuest, and he was stuck on Ornn duty, and it was a 0-4 start. It was not pretty. It ended 0-4, by the way, as well. The start and end were the exact same thing. It wasn't great. But now he's back here. He's on a big carry. It's going to be a lot about this top lane. Of course, there are threats everywhere else also, but I'm still going to look at that one a lot.
And the other thing we have to remember is that, it's not just about that 1v1, because Perks, his champion, is essentially here to work alongside Fudge. So we're going to have to see how NXI and Palafox can protect Licorice from what feels pretty inevitable in a Galio roam, moving up towards that top side, trying to attack the Fiora. Yes, you can try to save your parry. As that Galio is coming in with the ultimate, then you're not going to have it for the taunt potentially, or even the hook shot. So can be difficult to play around that, but we'll see how FlyQuest is able to manage up there in that top lane, because if Fiora can get ahead, that is a clear side lane win condition. But Galio Camille always so frightening, and Perks is going to be playing Predator, so really wants to focus on the roams, and expecting him to go Rocket Belt to even help that more.
I didn't see if FlyQuest saw the ward go down in the river, but I've just been impressed by every single game. Someone's like, this is where the ward is, and pop sweeper and the right every time. I know in game one, or at least the game we cast a second ago, where Lost got the deep ward in, it's like, okay, expectation is that you deep ward when we invade like this, so it's probably there, and was right. But it's just still impressive that these players know the common ward spots and the tendencies of their opponents, everything, and it's like, yep, I'm right, this is where they were. We're going to get some extra golden XP and get rid of your vision.
Yeah, so pretty good start. We'll be interested to see how Sven and Vulcan are going to be able to do down here against Diamond and Johnson. Sven and Vulcan obviously were known as one of the most dominant bot lanes in the LCS, especially in spring. They were absolutely crushing it. And it is PTA on the MF. I'm not sure where you stand at these builds. I've been seeing a lot of people in high elo go for the kind of Comet tier lethality style builds and just looking to bully with the ease of poke that MF can bring.
I think it'd be very good. I think you have to think about, is your lane really pokey? And one of the big things with a lot of the Jhin builds is they go boots 4 potions. With boots, you can get out of the, and even sometimes even fully dodge, make it rain a bit more easily, or just get out of the circle a bit sooner. And you, with 4 potions, I feel like you just sustain really nicely. So I don't think you get a lot of headway doing a really heavy poke build in a lane like this, because I don't think you actually like change anything, and then you're just weaker in the all-ins, which are going to happen because it's Alistar Leona. So in this case, I actually like him going for a more conventional auto attack based build. I'm still, by the way, a fan of WMAX on MF and playing her more as an auto attacker. For a lot of the same reasons, like you're not actually going to get that much out of QMax anyway. You're not really poking them out of lane, especially players who are good and play around the double up. But regardless, we do have junglers near the top side as Kindred's already here ready to fight for top scuttle. Nidalee not far behind. Both top laners have already warded that brush so that they know what's going on. But it's been Licorice ahead so far in the matchup. Blabber fighting over this one. Perkz shows up first, but the Orianna's close behind. Licorice now going to be here as well. Smite fight going to ensue. And it's going to go to Blabber. Picks up the first mark. Licorice getting a bit low, but there's a fight in the bottom side. They have gone in for Johnson, and the chase. There's press the attack. There's all the damage, and that's why you build for damage up front. Diamond can only try to walk away. Vulcan called it. Sven followed up, and first blood in the bottom lane.
Really nicely done. You can also see the use of the phase rush, allowing Vulcan to catch right back up with Johnson, who did flash and heal to try to escape, but not able to get out of there. So Cloud9 winning on both sides. They get the scuttle on top. They kill off Johnson down in that bot lane, and they get Sven to have the kill. So here it is one more time. Johnson just stepping forward a little bit too far, and Vulcan finding the opportunity to actually go for this. As Johnson, I think he just wanted to step forward to actually get that 4-shot onto Sven, but Vulcan sees the opportunity, the flash shield comes out, but as you can see, you proc the phase rush immediately, and then while the E is charging up, he just catches right back up, slaps the Jhin, and sets up Sven for that easy kill. And then up on that top side, here is the replay on this. The smite is nailed there by Blabber. You can see the parry came out from Licorice, but they just had to go back into a full retreat, and knowing that they were pretty far down on health.
Yeah, Smite came through for NXI as well, was just a fraction of a second too early and set it up for the Smite to come through anyway and get claimed by Blabber there. It was also a Kindred mark, so that's going to feel good. Took down a gold lead to Cloud9 on the bottom side. Well done on that one. Vulcan, obviously, again, a good job finding the headbutt pulverized. Johnson didn't flash the headbutt. He flashed after the stun. And as you mentioned, yeah, phase rush makes you chase that one, so no big deal. So bot is slow pushing. What we saw in the previous game was the fact that, you know, you can take the slow push, put it under the turret, and then use that to go for the dragon. In this case, obviously, they're not going to be denying much farm. Sven feels reasonably safe. You know, he's got cleanse, and it's enough to get away from Diamond in most cases. Ultimately, yeah, Licorice pushes in that side of the map, and Nidalee is going to be getting the dragon.
Yeah, and it's pretty scary now for Johnson as well, because if you are pushing up, you know that Vulcan still has his flash, right? And Diamond's going to have to be there to try to break up any potential Q flash into a headbutt backwards style of combo, because that can be very dangerous. You can see Blabber is pathing down here, and Vulcan very likely is going to look for that Q flash and try to headbutt Johnson back. So they have to back it up. They're on this dragon. They have been spotted now, but Johnson flashes. He's in trouble.
Johnson's going to be headbutt pulverized, going to be attacked, going to be shut down easily. Blabber can show up, Shockwave buy some time. NXI cannot finish the Drake, and thank you for the leash. Cloud9 going to claim more objectives. 2-0 start plus the Dragon. C9 are smashing so far.
Yeah, they are looking so good already. And Johnson going for the plated steel caps, but flash taunt onto Palafox.
And Palafox in a tough way. He can flash if he needs to, but he flashes in a straight line. Blabber flash to expect where it was going was not the guess. Palafox with phase rush on, trying to kite away, dealing some damage perks on the way out, but it means that he's getting the distance back up. Figured he couldn't get away. Obviously, there's a boot difference down there with the fact that Perkz has more move speed, so down he goes. Perkz once again on the board of the kill, 3-0 Cloud9.
They are looking really, really good already, and it's going to get tough here for FlyQuest. And when you are falling behind this early on, You know, I know you have never really been a fan of tabbies in the past, and now played at Steel Caps, really kind of filling that same role. But NXI, they just got spotted doing this dragon. He was already very low, so he just had to flash out. The dragon wasn't low enough for him to actually smite combo it down. He didn't want to just try to smite for health and stay around, so just kind of getting caught out there. Johnson separated from his team. His jungler very low on the dragon. No flash on Jhin, so he gets taken down very easily. They lose the dragon, and he's kind of way behind on itemization, to be honest, too. You know, this Jhin is not going to be doing much of anything.
Ooh. Okay, well, we got the fight going on. Another combo down towards Johnson. He's ignited. He's going to stay alive, though, nearly. If that was a root on Vulcan, that man was dead on Alistair. If only he landed a skill shot in time, it would have been a 1-0 for FlyQuest, but they will stay off the board. Licorice, he's able to keep himself alive, but he's going to lose a lot of farm down there. In this case, you mentioned it, the Steel Caps did help keep that poor AD carry alive. Jhin got the move speed, he got the armor to you know, not quite die to MF so quickly.
Yeah, that was just a really nice roam, though, as well from Perks. You know, one of the things, if you're looking at the health, it doesn't seem like Fudge was really in any problems, but if you get that wave stalled out, Fudge was out of mana. So if you're out of mana and you're kind of stuck in that awkward position, Licorice could actually take it all in and probably kill you. Fudge, you can see his ultimate was already on cooldown. He had missed his hook shot. So that was actually a pretty critical roam there from Perks to reset the wave from Fudge, to really help him out, because he didn't have TP, he didn't have any mana, and in that 1v1 in that position, you are either going to get the wave frozen on you or you're going to get killed by Licorice. So a good job by Perks helping out Fudge, who was having a little bit of trouble in that 1v1.
And now a fight for the top Herald as that one spawns up. We've got the supports roaming over. The AD carry's doing the same. Now Sven's in base walking over, but even Jhin is already like past the move at this point. This Herald's about to leash though. 300 health left on that one. The eye can be popped, still not in smite range for a while though, and just be careful it doesn't pull aggro too many times. But now the top end is showing up. Licorice and Fudge do battle. Herald gonna get the health all the way back up. A stun's gonna land. Big shots towards Fudge, but careful because Vulcan can show up for a bit more. Diamond up to half HP as now it's Blabber's turn to fight Big Chelly. Is there an engage? All 5 members of both teams are here still fighting over this one. The chance at getting some plates. Minions dying across the board and the other lanes, of course. But Herald may well give 300 gold over if someone can win that fight. Still waiting for the battle to come across. Shockwave is up. Most ultis are gone for C9 side, but Sven's almost there. Regardless, Blabber gets the smite, gets to take it. And FlyQuest spent a lot of time getting topside and get absolutely nothing for it.
Yeah, they were there first too. They just weren't actually willing to commit to the play. They had the ball on Diamond, they had Shockwave available, but I just think Diamond wasn't sure they could actually connect a Zenith Blade over onto Blabber, who could just use the Dance of Arrows to potentially dodge that. So instead, he kind of just ended up walking through the river, losing half or more of his health to that Kindred before the fight even started. And then at that point, when Sven arrives, there's not really much of a fight to even take for FlyQuest. So they're kind of just getting out skirmished at this point. Cloud9 winning out in small ways, repeatedly over time, extending this lead. They're now up 1.5k. They've gotten the Herald to be able to try to extend that even further. And they've already taken the first dragon, so we could see them just try to drop Herald and use that to try to grab the second one for themselves as they set up for this play, potentially onto Palafox, who could get engaged on if he steps a little bit further forward.
Is there a Hex Flash play? He was just about in range for Hex Flash, had a bit pulverized, but doesn't go for the move there. Palafox going to be able to just sit there in the mid lane. Was flashless, only Shockwave for defense, but not going to mean too much. A CS lead in the mid lane. Gold difference for the team, still 1,400. Not abysmal, but a fairly rough start. Gale Force done here for Blabber.
And that's going to be really, really nice for Kindred. One of the things that's so nice about Gale Force I've found on Kindred is really that oftentimes so much of your damage is actually landing that third hit of your E, landing that third auto, for that PTA. And if you can get that full combo off, you can often burst people down, but sometimes you just can't quite stay in range. And the Gale Force can kind of help bridge that gap. It also puts more damage down, with the actual shot coming out from the Gale Force that can amplify the execute damage coming out from your E, and oftentimes really help you position properly or chase people down to get those extra kills.
Yeah, even Gale Force itself has execute damage. It does, I think, what, 50%, 100% more if they're getting low. So you can kind of order it in either way, and you're going to get rewarded almost regardless. Blabber going to get the shots in at this Dragon. No problems for him. You can see 3 stacks in the Kindred so far down to the bottom of your screen. As thanks to the overlay changing once again, you get to count those. So don't have to have us count those out for you as time goes on. Still sitting at the same roughly 1,500 gold lead, but Cloud9 have got 2 Drakes. They're on their way towards Ocean Soul very early on. Vulcan going to Hex Flash over, going to spot someone to fight over it here. Comes the rest of the squad, forcing the flash out from Diamond. And a root going to land for Johnson, and it's time to run away yet again. Bot lane under fire. Still 2 minutes to claim plates with, and that means as they attack these first two, you summon Herald during the third most times, and that usually gets you the rest of the turret if you want it. Blabber waiting a while to summon, though. He made... Okay, there we go. This is, I think, very slightly late, but, like, you're wasting all of 2 seconds. It's not like you're losing a lot. Either way, Herald will always die. Herald, by the way, always deals a minimum of 2,000 true damage to turrets. So if there's 2 plates left, you always know the turret is going to die no matter what. There's no way around it. But could have done it a little sooner if you really wanted to optimize your time.
I still love the play, though, because if you think about it just in isolation, it's like, well, why are you engaging on the Leona? You spend a lot to do that. But because they can then zone them off the subsequent waves, and they have the Herald to finish off that turret, it becomes such a valuable play. They force the flash out of Leona, but then they kill off the turret. They donate almost all that gold to the Kindred and to Sven. You notice that Perks and Vulcan got out of there very quickly, so getting that gold where they want it, and now forcing a flash off of Palafox is even bigger because all the flashes are available on Cloud9, and now having Palafox without that flash means he's very vulnerable if they want to try to fight in these next 5 minutes. You know, if they decide to try to face down Cloud9 at that Ocean Dragon, well, very likely Palafox is going to get committed to and taken down.
Ulti burned by the Orianna just to wave clear and get back out. And get the recall off on time. I mean, ultimately, there's nothing to fight for a while. 3 minutes still towards Ocean Drake, so that shockwave's not likely to matter until it comes back up from cooldown. Very few ultimates last more than 3 minutes for their cooldown, so not a problem down there. Lane swaps come around. Of course, with bot turret already gone, go send your Siege champions somewhere else. Sven's got Gale Force and Zerk Greaves done. It is not a caster MF, it is an auto attack MF. I'm a huge fan of this overall. I have not been watching that much MFM Pro to know if this Gale Force Zerk Greaves is the common build for her more than lethality, but overall I am still a fan of the build being a very good one.
Yeah, it can be pretty powerful. It's also interesting to see that Vulcan is actually going for more of a pure tank style build. Maybe going towards an engage item here, but he's not building towards Locket. We can see Licorice though going on Fudge. TP's coming in.
Nearly gets the 4th stack, gonna get that one down, so a big heal coming across. But Perks is here for a quick taunt. He's gonna deal some damage over to Licorice. Gonna have no big problem with that one all the same. There's some wave clear. There's a couple of spells burned back and forth. Ult for ult from the top laners. Perks burn TP, so did Palafox to get down. Ultimately, though, no deaths, nothing going on.
Yeah, not too bad on either side. Again, the MF ult just expended to try to push this in, chunking Johnson out. So probably Turbo Chem Tank again, I'm guessing here from Vulcan. Wants to go for the engage, is playing Phase Rush. It's a similar style that we saw coming out from Sword Art. And I think it makes sense. There's a lot of squishy members that you're trying to get to over on FlyQuest. And having that extra move speed, if you can find an angle to get that engage and deliver in Perks, is going to be really, really effective. And honestly, quietly, NXI has been getting further and further behind. Blabber has been having a great game. He's now up 30 plus CS. Could be getting caught out.
Blabber's gonna burn his own ultimate. Jin'Ul's gonna come down. You gotta save those shots. You'll never kill Blabber while the ulti holds. Can't find the 4th shot as the team takes it. A nice javelin for NXI. Gets a side shot in, but yeah, never was Blabber gonna die there because the team frontline for him. So a nice escape there. Couple of ults traded. But now it does mean Lamb's Spite will be down when Dragon spawns in 1 minute and 10 seconds.
But they're probably going to be able to get that Rift Herald right now. They have that top lane turret fairly low, so that's a guaranteed kill if they want to drop it there. They could also use it to just try to pressure and take away that mid lane turret if they would like to do that. Blabber is really having a strong game. I mean, he's on 5 marks. In competitive, that is very, very fast to be getting to 5 marks this early and having a tremendous amount of farm at this point. I mean, he has more farm than his top laner, almost as much as his mid laner, and he's playing a scaling jungler with a bunch of marks, so he already has the extra attack range. He's going to be a monster in these team fights. Having the Gale Force done already will be interesting to see where exactly he does want to go next. There's a lot of different options. Some people like the rapid fire. Sometimes you can go towards Hurricane. Even Blade of the Ruin King on hit is fairly popular. So will be interesting to see where Blabber does take us, as this is the kind of Kindred game that you can really take over.
Nice right there by Perks. Now that is meaningful because that means Rocket Belt is, I believe, well, I mean, the cooldown's pretty short, but I believe it's going to be down if there is an immediate fight for Dragon. Ultimately, it's going to stop a recall. It's going to buy you another 7 seconds of Palafox not being there in time, but, could theoretically be punished for that play. Ultimately, it's going to be fine. Looks like no one's going to contest anything. Blabber's going to get a soul of this Dragon, no problem. So, can't hate ultimately. And Blabber's going to go ahead and, yeah, he's level 11. He's got 2 levels up over NXI. He's not going to get stopped by anything. Vulcan's waiting. You can see at the very corner of the screen. Fudge and Vulcan really both making sure no one can come around and take the Dragon Steel. And so Blabber gets a pretty easy drink number 3. Ocean Soul is 5 minutes away.
And that is very concerning for FlyQuest because they don't have the best team fight, right? You know, it's difficult to 5v5 oftentimes with Fiora and Nidalee, and that's going to be what they're kind of faced with because they're going to have to show up to this next dragon unless they want to just give up a guaranteed Ocean Soul, but that's not really a winning play. And when you show up to that dragon, there's going to be the potential flank of the Alistar. There is the Camille Galio engage. There is the MF ultimate over top of that Camille Galio lockdown. And this is a very, very difficult team fight that it's going to be from FlyQuest. It feels like they need to try to pick someone off, you know, get a lockdown from Diamond onto one of these carries, burst them out potentially before they get
one auto
fight.
Oh, goodbye, Palafox. Flash, that last E hit, you mentioned it. The Gale Force got him low enough that the last hit from Wolf was going to get the kill. Solo kill for Blabber. Mid lane's going to fall. Cloud9 moving toward a perfect game. 4-0 in kills, 3-0 on Drakes, 3-0 on turrets, 2-0 on Rift Heralds. They've gotten absolutely everything, and FlyQuest are plummeting.
They are really in trouble. It looks like Blabber's going to be going towards Stormrazor second. Diamond even caught out. Here's the combo.
Here's a bunch of damage. Diamond, oh no, it's rough. He's going to run down. He's going to crack under pressure. NXI flashes back to his top lane. Licorice is here. Vulcan to help it out, though. Fudge getting a bit low. He's got to be careful. The flash is not enough to follow. They're going to land the CC. Fudge's going to run away. He's going to dodge away. He's got to live. Vulcan, do it. All right, they're going to keep him alive, and now the rest of it's going to be no problem at all. Palafox gets some damage, not enough. More kills coming across, and by the way, Sven has a Herald, and Sven is going to take down a middle inhibitor at 18 minutes, 40 seconds.
Meanwhile, in the base, focus on those objectives. Sven, the team player there, everyone else is having fun over in the bot lane. He's like, guys, I'm killing the turret. Guys, I got the inhibitor, but Blabber is running over this game. He is so far ahead at this point. It feels like he's going to be pretty much impossible to stop. Likely has his Stormrazor ready to go when he does base, and you know, this is just Diamond, wrong spot, wrong time, gets caught out here by Fudge, in comes Perks with the ultimate over top, and then NXI trying to jump over and burst him out, but Perks had the perfectly timed taunt to taunt NXI right as he gets over the wall, and then Licorice trying to get in here for the kill, but lockdown, CC'd up by Vulcan and Perks, can't quite get the damage down onto Fudge, and Blabber just running through this game, chasing him down and knocking down multiple FlyQuest members.
Now beautifully done. 8-0 right now, the scoreline. Cloud9 gonna look to put that first win on the board. They are 2 minutes away from Ocean Soul, and that's almost certainly gonna be theirs. We get a nice Magi's coming through for Perks, which, yeah, I mean, that makes sense based on how the game is going. Go ahead and upgrade that Dark Seal, get the extra ability power. It's gold efficient at around 8 stacks, and it also becomes a mythic item, which means you're getting the extra flat magic penetration thanks to Rocket Belt. So keep that in mind when you're considering, a 0-stack Dark Seal, spending 1,200 gold just to get the mythic passive. There's a chance it's worth it at some point in time. Probably not at 0 stacks, but it's a consideration for everyone out there.
Maybe if you're really confident at 0 stacks.
You're really confident it's going to start stacking.
Exactly. Got to believe in yourself, Freak. That's key in League of Legends and in life. And Cloud9 believing that they're going to be able to take down this Baron. They are marching towards what would be a perfect game here, potentially. Do lose the tower on that bottom side, but Cloud9 coming out how people were expecting them to come out yesterday in what was a shocking defeat, now crushing through FlyQuest in their second game of lock-in here. Really, really looking good, and it's getting hard to think of ways that FlyQuest could really kind of get back into this game.
One thing I'm sad about is this game wasn't really about top laners. I wanted Licorice Fudge to be the climactic battle, and there was going to be this epic 36-minute 1v1 where you flash the auto attack into a brush, and it doesn't matter. Licorice is going 1-0-1, but this game was about mid jungle. There's a top river scuffle, and I mean, ultimately, sorry for FlyQuest, they just are not showing signs of life. Now, I will repeat that this is a team without their intended starting roster. Their intended starting jungler, Jose Diodo, has not been able to play with them right now. So NXI, who was picked up by FlyQuest during the scouting grounds at the end of last year, is standing in for now. But look, Jose Diodo is a really, really outstanding player, and missing someone of that caliber is going to make your team look worse. So FlyQuest, getting off on the wrong foot. We'll see what else they can do during the lock-in tournament. Hopefully maybe find a win, get to a best of 3 or something. But right now, Cloud9 are absolutely walking over their opponents.
Yeah, and they even have the luxury of picking up these stopwatches. You know, I talked about maybe they could lock down and burst out Blabber before he can get Lamb's Respite, but he has stopwatch now. Perks has a stopwatch. When your opponents are so far ahead that they're outpacing you as far as, you know, the damage itemization and can stop for those luxury items like stopwatches, I mean, this is going to be an uncontested Ocean Soul when you're already 10k down. It feels pretty much unwinnable at that point, you know, given the caliber of team that Cloud9 is. Licorice trying to make something happen, though.
Tries to make the big play on Sven. He's going to get big healing, but it's not going to be enough. Ignite cuts it by 60%, and Sven finds the kill. And now, NXI tries to kite away. Doesn't get stunned, but he's still trapped in the ultimatum. That's a double kill coming across. No way to get away from that one. So it's 10-0. Ocean Soul is in. This is likely a perfect game here, and a fast one at that. 22-30. Perks zipping in towards the base to find maybe some damage. Sad B for Diamond. Understood. Former C9 Academy support down there as well. Won a couple titles with them. Another player off the roster for his LCS beginnings. And yeah, this is going to be now Nexus turrets falling. FlyQuest swag comes out for Diamond. He tried his very, very best. Please don't dive the fountain. Vulcan kites right back out. That's going to be 2 kills under the turret. And a perfect game for Cloud9 to find their first victory of LCS lock-in.
Great
they lost the turret. It's not. They lost the turret. No! A deathless game for Cloud9 on their way to a victory on this
I was going to give it to you. You know, I was going to suddenly later on ask, oh, are we counting the turret? You know?
Yeah.
So really, it was about the top lane freak because Licorice took the bot lane turret in that 1v1 against Fudge. So Licorice gets the moral victory of not getting perfect game, but Cloud9 crushed through this game against FlyQuest. Really looking strong in this one. More what people were expecting. So Perks may not be deathless in the entire tournament, but he was deathless in this game. Turned in a very strong Galio performance, and it's nice to see that they are, you know, very flexible in what we have seen